We are Legion.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and I'm joined by my good buddy, the Comic Vet. And this is At Week's End, episode 30. There's a lot of stuff that's happened since last week, so let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. But before we do, check this out. All right, everybody, if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, do all that stuff so you don't miss when future content drops. This is the week that I'll be posting the 700 subscriber giveaway entry video. I'll be going over all the prizes. There'll be some key books, some slab books, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff, so you don't want to miss out on that. You do have to be a subscriber to win. And, yeah, that'll be Wednesday. I'll post that video. Got some other cool stuff coming up before then. And that's it for the little have to shout out stuff in the beginning. How are you doing tonight, Chris?
I've had better days, Mark, but I'm glad to be here, man. You know, I'm not going to miss Sunday nights with you and Ryan hanging out. I went and got vaccinated yesterday, as some people may or may not know, and dealt with some side effects late last night and all through today, but, you know, I'm okay right now.
I'm glad you're making it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Just
the
doing my
addition
part
that you added to your video and everything.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool experience. It was it's the provincial government of Ontario here opened up vaccination windows to those that are 40 and above, and I fit in that category somewhere in there. I'm not going to say exactly where, but you know, it was just nice to be a part of it and finally get it done and get one step closer to being able to travel down to the United States and, you know, eventually shake the hands of you two guys and check out that bed.
There's plenty of room for you in there, Chris. There's plenty of room. What's up,
What did
Brian?
I step into? What's up,
Talking
man?
about how he got his first round for his vaccine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
One step closer to traveling and two steps closer to that bed. Long
That's
story
right.
short.
That's right.
I'm
on my way to Houston when that border opens up, brother.
I'm probably gonna go this week and get mine. They have them at NRG. Like, just show up and get it.
What is that? NRG.
The arena?
NRG is that's where the Texans play. Yeah, but they have it all like set up in the parking lot. It's just they opened it up, I think, last Monday. First come, first serve. And then once you get the first shot, you know, then on your way out, they'll schedule you for the second one. So
nice. Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, you missed a whole lot. We did the intro. That's pretty much it.
Glad I missed the boring part then.
Yeah, I did announce.
Savage.
Oh, I have to work on that then. Man, what a bummer. I got a couple people in the. Go ahead.
I was gonna say everything can't be Cowboy Bebop where you watch it for the intro, you know.
I hadn't never watched Cowboy Bebop. I'm aware of it. But
oh my god, it's so good.
So let's say hey to the chat real quick. We got 13 people in here at the moment. Southern Comic Geek first to it. What's going on? We got Burt Family 54 comics in the chat. What is up, Steve? We got Dan. Hi guys. Get over here. Cool people. But fails. Dude, I went back and watched the Mortal Kombat Annihilation in one sitting yesterday evening, opposed to watching Invincible. My kids I missed watching it in my normal schedule when like no one else is awake. And the old Mortal Kombat were fine to watch with like my son. You know, he just wants to punch you in the face when you're watching it. But Scorpion never actually catches anyone with his hook.
The Christopher Lambert movies is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, or the second one, Annihilation, when he pops
Yeah.
up for the Sub-Zero fight.
Yeah.
Never catches anyone. Thought I'd throw that out there. And here we go. What is up, Panda? He had an awesome show earlier this afternoon. Sold Twice. What it do, Pikachu? My man. Captain Comics, ahoy. Glad you can make it. Small Town Collectibles. We have the man himself, Comicade. How are you doing with his newly updated channel? We got it reformatted and everything. If you guys haven't checked out Comicade, be sure to give him a check out. He does all kinds of fun stuff over there on his channel as well. Flash by Night, how are you doing? And it jumped on me. It always jumps on me. Blame that on Ryan. We got Flo Dameron in here. Free Key Louie. How are you doing, brother? No, we can't. We're trying to be. That's just how Legion we are. That made it down to the bottom of the chat. So tonight we have a lot to talk about. You know, I'd like to just kind of chit chat for a little bit in the beginning, talk about whatever. I think the only big news that I've heard happened in this past week is CGC made the announcements where they're they're burning people and potentially themselves. What is going on, Paul? There's the LCS right there, the Augusta Book Exchange. So, yeah, CGC made a huge announcement. We can touch on that. But after we can chit-chat for a little bit, then we'll talk about some of these comic books, and we'll save the end, as always, for shows and movies. That way, if you're in the chat and you want to hang out and chat and everything but don't want anything spoiled, you haven't had a chance to watch yet, it won't be till the end of the show. But we will be talking Captain and Winter Soldier finale. We'll be talking this week's episode of Invincible, which I hope one of you guys watch because I haven't, and I'm fine with talking spoilers. But I probably won't be able to watch it till next Friday morning, so I'd rather hear about it than have to wait. And then obviously we're talking Mortal Kombat tonight. So
Awesome.
So I guess all the dealers are a little upset.
Yeah.
With CGC.
Yeah.
I think my email inbox exploded. Like literally exploded. I must have had 15 different comic book companies that I receive email blasts from, all speaking about CGC and their changes, and that unfortunately they're going to have to pass those costs on to their customers.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah. So, you know,
now there's one thing I'm curious about. All right, so if anyone's in the chat that didn't know, CGC is updating, changing, and increasing their prices for users. And they've merged some of the tiers. They've knocked away discounts. So it's nothing too drastic, but every little bit really does count when you're dealing with those kind of margins. That like $18 at CGC translates to the secondary market is anywhere between $40 to $100 when you're buying stuff pre-slabbed and stuff like that, especially new books. You know, like you find, you can go buy a book off a shelf or cover price, or you can pre-buy it in a 9.8 for anywhere between $40 to $100 depending on the book. So it's going to be a little weird seeing how it goes going forward. And I don't dislike CBCS at all. If they would just put white boxes around their grades, I would probably send more stuff to them than CGC, just because I don't have to wait as long. And I know that their grades are more accurate. CGC is just whatever. And I'm only saying that based off 100% my personal experience with sending stuff into both, cracking slabs and sending it into the other company. I had a 5.0 get thrown up to I think it's an 8.5. It was 6 grade bumps. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. There's not a presser out there that has a time machine. And that's the only way to do that, is to go back in time when that book was never in that condition to begin with. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's,
which I appreciate because it jacked the price of the first appearance of the Crow.
Yeah, moved the right way.
Yeah, I did that intentionally.
You didn't crack like an 8.5 and come back as a 5.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I did that intentionally. I've talked to people about it. Like, watch this. I'm going to pull the old okey doke. So I cracked a CBCS slab, which I had sent it into CBCS myself, so I knew it hadn't been cleaned and pressed. So I cracked it, had it cleaned and pressed by, admittingly, an amazing presser. Eric at Comic Book _ Pressing. And then had it submitted to CGC, where they are way, way not on point. But I think I'm to the point where I think they're just selling 9.8s and the rest is just all over the place.
I did find some personal irony in the fact that the day they announced the price change and the merging of the tiers and, everyone got quite upset. Then they turned around and said, "We're hiring."
Yeah.
Well,
And
now I
this is
know
a
how
good.
I know how they're going to be, taking care of those new salaries.
I was gonna say making
Yeah.
payroll.
And Soul Twice made a good point here. Like you have these people in the community that are artists that can get registered with CGC, like Austin LeMay is one, and
Yeah. Hmm.
Cardboard Crazies, Chris over there. I
Yeah.
think he was talking about working on getting it or set up where he can get his artist account. Now, Soul Twice has a lot of awesome art that he does as
Yeah.
well. I've got 4 pieces from him myself,
Yeah.
and that's a good point. I wonder how that's going to affect them, like those yellow label stuff. I don't even know what the price difference is for that going before this announcement or what. But my membership is still good for I think at least 4 more months. So I wonder, does the price change affect me right now, or will it be after my membership gets renewed, or what?
I'm not sure personally.
Yeah, I haven't stopped to really look at it. It doesn't really affect me yet. I've got a stack of stuff I want to send off, but I'll get around to it. Buying more books are more important than slabbing current books for me. I don't know why.
But I do continuously think that I like the idea that CBCS does have staff on hand that certifies signatures, and that you can get a yellow label as long as they feel that the autograph is authentic. Now, I know I've been an autograph collector my entire life, and I've seen a lot of bad fakes. I've seen some good fakes, but yeah, that's still something that I like, because I know I got books signed in the 80s and the 90s. Like, I can remember Dale Keown when he first launched the Pit under the Image banner.
Image, yeah, nice.
He did a signing in downtown Toronto, and as a teenager, I went and I got that signed and a bunch of the Hulk books that he had done before he made the jump. And he threw a signature on there, and I've always often thought, oh, it would have been so cool, if slabbing would have been around back when I was a teenager, because maybe I could have had these books slabbed back then. And now that CBCS offers that feature, not that I would send in a Keown signed book, because he's still continuously around Toronto doing signings and events. But just imagine if I would have had an opportunity to meet Jack Kirby, because I know, Mark, right now that you've received some Kirby care packages, and like, it'd be cool to send in something like that. Right.
With personal property of Jack Kirby included in each box.
Right. You're gonna have to go change your shirt now.
This box, look at the art on the back of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, nice.
He's a master. But yeah, I often thought, if CGC ventured into that game, could it be profitable for them? And I remember mentioning that once in a live stream where Gem Mint was, and he came flat out and said that will never, ever happen. He's spoken to multiple people at CGC, and they say they don't want to open that can of worms. They want nothing to do with it. They like the verified program that they have, and God bless them, it works. I think it's really stringent how it works. That when you go to a con, or if you go to an LCS that happens to have a verified person on staff, or they're in location. But I would love it if they were to go down that rabbit hole, because like, how often do we see Jack Kirby signed books or Stan Lee books now that come up on eBay that are signed? They look good, and they're just they're not slabbed. You could throw your money at it, send in CBCS.
Stan is probably one of the most common signatures out there too, just because how present he was. I mean, I have two items signed by Stanley that I got signed personally myself. I didn't get a comic signed because it's I have the photo that I got with me and him signed, and then that Toy Biz 1992 Hulk or something like that, the first like 6-inch scale one.
Yeah,
I got him to sign that as well. For me, that's way more personal than a certain comic or anything. I mean, if I had like the Hulk one, maybe, but I wouldn't want his signature just on like a not key Hulk thing. That was just where my mindset was.
I got him on a few books. The couple encounters I had with him. The one that I'm proudest of is I got him on an ASM1, and I got him on the original Spider-Man movie, the Twin Towers movie poster.
Oh,
I got
sweet.
it.
The one
Yeah,
before the original
yeah,
promo stuff.
yeah.
That's a
The
big item to
the
have right there.
and I asked him to actually sign a large autograph on it, and he signed it in that true Stan Lee voice. He said, "Is that big enough for you, son?" So yeah, that was in Detroit, Michigan, actually at that time. And then most recently, in his final trip to Canada, I got him on ASM1, and yeah, he was, and yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And then
Now,
yeah, he was. What's that?
as I say, with this, it's always good to be able to grade your own books if you plan on doing something with them, so you're able to make kind of a more conscious decision with how you're about to attempt to spend your money. But in terms of, I mean, anyone can buy a Overstreet price guide that has the gold standard grading scale in the front of it and grade their own books. But to have it certified is a certified grade is the key. The word certified is what matters. And like, it's good to know what quality your book is or have an idea about it for sure. But if you're trying to use that book to sell, to buy something else, or to trade up or something, that certified grade is where like the extra
It's all
value
about
of the
that
book
label.
comes in.
I wonder if now we're going to see an increase in the value on books if it's in a CGC case because of the fact that they charge more money.
Oh, I'm sure the secondary market's going to jump all over that. Absolutely jump all over that. Oh, I just had this slabbed up. Do they have dates that they're slabbed on them? I know CBCS does, like graded on this date. Or I don't know if CBCS does. What was it, ECG that Tyler had gotten where it said that it was encapsulated on a specific date?
No, the only thing I see is just the yellow label where it says the date of the signature. I don't see.
Are you looking at CGC or CBCS?
I'm looking at CGC right now.
Okay.
I'm looking at one that's been slabbed in the last 5 months, and no, this one's a yellow label. It just happens to say the date that it was autographed and the month of the release of the book. That was it.
The CBCS didn't have it either. So it had to be the ECG one that saw that Tyler had. It says graded on this date.
He's in the chat. I'm surprised he didn't say anything.
Has he not yet?
I haven't seen anything. Then again, I guess he could be at work or something and just listening.
There's Justin. I think I sent him the thing.
He had a stream the other day that was pretty cool.
I see he's got one coming up this week again.
Talking about with
yeah?
Skeff.
Yeah.
The one he
Unfortunately,
did.
I'll be at work and
Yeah,
I have
that
to
was
catch
really
it on the
good.
replay. Yeah.
I caught the beginning of it.
Yeah.
I
Justin,
didn't
you
catch
have
it
the
live, but I watched the replay.
if you're free, Justin, you have the link in your Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is, the one, the only Martian Manhunter. What is going on? It was fun meeting him. Like getting his signature is awesome, but the experience of meeting him was really, really fun. That was the last time I was at the Heroes Convention.
Dan says the CGC says it in the registry.
Oh, okay.
What is up, Comic Lounge? Yeah, CGC says in registry. So yeah, that's really the only big thing that I think really happened this week in comic news. Of course, y'all did see where Tynan is coming out with he's coming out with a new horror comic in the same style as his indie horror comics, but under Black Label with DC. So DC, they're getting it right. They're tightening it up. Hopefully, I don't think he wants to be writing Batman.
I don't think the two of you want him writing Batman either.
No. In all sincerity, I don't. It's not like it's like horrible.
It just doesn't feel like an A effort from him,
No,
based on like everything else he's ever written.
Yeah, it's definitely not in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the freedom. Like how many times
I was
we
gonna
said
say,
that he just doesn't have the freedom to do it.
I
mean, he had talked about it in his newsletter toward the end of last year, how he took Batman on as a way to kind of like promote all of his indie projects and stuff. He knew that it would put his name on people's radar, and then they would see like Department of Truth and Something Is Killing the Children and kind of his most personal project, I guess, is Wind. That was the big one that was coming out just as he started Batman. And so in his newsletter, he talks about like he kind of took Batman on as a way to help promote his own name and kind of get his other projects elevated a bit. And he didn't outright say it, but it feels like he was kind of trying to dance around the idea that editorial is just in his way with what he really wants to do with all of this stuff in Batman. And if that's the case, if it's DC editorial in the way, I still feel like let it go. Who cares? I mean, you got two of the best books on the planet right now. Who cares about Batman?
Well, I'm hoping he's going to drop 3. The new book is called The Nice House on the Lake. It's a 12-issue maxi series from. So hopefully it just takes place in DC continuity. It has nothing to do with superheroes. Just maybe it's just that would be cool. That's a good direction for Black Label to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that personal value thing that comes in handy, like when you're, especially if you're like diving through back issues or you're at a shop, like and you want to buy books in person that aren't graded. Having that knowledge, though, hey, that is super valuable to have. I haven't taken the time to sit down and memorize all the Overstreet guidelines for it. I mean, I've read over it numerous times, but a few people that I can think that I would want writing Batman. Yeah, and I can't think of any. I think that
Frank Miller.
Tomasi needs to come back. Who?
I mean, the Frank other Miller. Night it kind of came up in the burrito Saturday chat. That came up was like this idea like Batman's really not prestigious to write at this point because he's literally everywhere. Like Ron V wrote Batman into a panel like 2 weeks ago. So anybody and everybody's written Batman. When you talk about somebody like Daredevil, like that's prestigious. Not everybody's writing Daredevil because he's not everywhere, But when it comes to Batman, I really just don't think it's as much of a badge of honor these days as it once was because he's still like one of the biggest characters in the world, but it's so easy to get your hands on him somehow, somewhere,
Yeah. Everyone's writing Batman right now. Everyone.
It's funny. It's funny you said that, Ryan. I kind of feel right now looking at all the Bat titles, and I know that we're dismissing the Batman franchise book, but the writing he's done on the first couple Joker books has been stellar, right? Like with the Joker, Tynan's writing that, and it's excellent. But for some reason, it's not translating into the franchise.
He's writing a detective. He's writing a detective horror crime novel. At that point, he's writing an indie book that you just put a Gordon and Joker skin on a couple of people and just move forward with it. It's fantastic. And he should do that with Batman, though.
Yeah. Ryan, you mentioned a badge. It's not a badge of honor anymore to write Batman. You're right. It's more the badge of honor to draw Batman. And not even necessarily, and I'm not talking about the covers or whatever, because there's 1,000,001 covers for every Bat title that comes out.
Putting but to say that artists on him.
To say that you're doing an interior for the Batman franchise title, that's right now that's the badge of honor. Like Capullo has the biggest one in the last 10 years for sure. But you're exactly right.
But I do think that
Josh Williamson should take over Batman. We've said that before.
Oh my god, it would be so good.
Yeah.
I mean, you also think about I think that DC editorial has some kind of agenda for the Batman title for some reason. Because Detective Comics, I'm crazy excited for the next one coming out this week.
Right,
Joker has been, right.
Worth
and like I said, Joker with Tynion's been great. There's something in the Batman line that DC's trying to control too much. I think that's awesome, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Oh,
very
cool.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Comics.
People in the chat were asking, and that's where it is. And that is the one that gives you the date that it was graded on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So it was graded on 4/6/21 and a grade of 9.8 Mighty Morphin number 4, and then it gives the grader's notes, corner scuff, top left, spine stress line, front cover. But I got a 9.8. Obviously, he grades. When you get a 9.8, usually there's something wrong with it because it's not a 10, right?
That's a hell of a turnaround time, brother. Holy cow!
Yeah, it was 20 days.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool to get notes at a 9.8. Why is this not a 10? Here's why.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it says that on his site, like it says, like if it's a 10, it's perfect. If it's a 9.9, it can have this. If it's a 9.8,
Right.
it can have this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
It is funny that how all the grading companies have their different starting number as what they recognize mint as. So, CGC's 9.8, like this is what we expect. You have to impress us even better to get 9.9 or a 10, where PGX is everything starts at 10, or CBCS is 9.8, and it all fluctuates thereafter. But yeah, I can't get over that around that turnaround time, man. That's incredible. Where everyone's now complaining about turnaround times. Yeah.
I forget where I even mentioned that. It was probably in the burrito chat the other night. I was like, everybody gets to write Batman now. I could probably have a title by the end of the year.
But in all sincerity, this should happen. Like, he proved himself writing Batman, Superman. Like, no, he's had the Superman Batman title for like going on 18. This coming week will be 18 issues that it's deep in, but he had that for the first 15 issues. And it was consistently fun, consistently good, and somehow having to write stories that were engaged. Dude, he's just a classic style comic writer. Give him some of the universe continuity to play with too, like he did with Flash. Everyone loved his Flash run.
Yeah,
dude,
the stuff that he touched inside of Death Metal was fantastic.
Every single Flash book, so consistent. Every single one of them. You got like the Barry Allen intro with the narration, and then like the awesome splash page, like so consistent. Like, good Lord! And then he was on Future State. He did
Batman Superman.
Which one?
No, he did Justice League.
Justice League, right? Yeah,
yeah.
And that was a great Justice League story.
It was so good.
Yeah. He's got the Damian Wayne story coming up. Like, all the setup for that has been great. So I'm excited to see what he does with that. He's one of the architects of this Infinite Frontier stuff. So, I mean, Williamson's there. Like, he's a solid foundation for DC. They need to hold on to him for sure.
I read two DC books that made me not care at all about Batman anymore. Just this past week. And
were they Batman books?
Suicide Squad and Nightwing.
Dude, Suicide Squad's been fantastic. Those were two strong issues.
Oh my God, so good.
Amazing. Like, Tom
Taylor.
79. Oh my God.
78, 79 were so good.
78 was good, but like 79 was just like next level. Like 78, once he kind of like, separated himself from what was, and then 79 just let him like breathe completely new life into Nightwing and Dick Grayson.
Yeah, you could feel it. His writing. I love Tom Taylor so much, and I don't really care about Nightwing. Yeah. So for me to feel that for Nightwing right away made me realize like how good he really is. It's so good.
Yeah, I really like the way that he took all the brooding out of Nightwing, and I thought that was great. I'm tired of every Batman character just being dark and brooding all the time. And he took that out of Nightwing.
I want to address this real quick. Dan said he would love to get some brand new empty slabs for my own graded comics. So that slab that Tyler held up, he had that done through a service. Well, last week, Chip Getler on his ridiculously high definition quality YouTube channel, he reviewed that slab. He actually went online and bought one himself, and you can slab your own book with that exact brand slab. And you can either like use a little label that comes with it to put in there just to write on, or you can get on a printer and make your own and cut it out and put the label right in there. So those slabs are not unaccessible. Like the CGC slab probably has a patent involved in it or something, as well as the CBCS slab where they're not just going to sell those to anybody. But the EGS slab obviously does not, because that company sold one to Chip Getler, and he did a fantastic review of it. And it looks like something that, if it's something that you're not worried about the grade, but you're wanting the preservation, it seems like a no-brainer. And they're like, I think he said it was like $16-17, something like that, the one that he ordered. And it looked really fantastic. It was a good product.
I know he's working on something too that at EGS to where it's going to have like more of a CGC type of feeling. I don't know all the details, but Like it's something that they're working on a patent for, as far as I understand.
Yeah, see, like just getting like some cases and stuff and putting my favorite covers in there. That's way more appealing to me than like sending them off to be graded.
Yeah,
Oh,
see,
top
I have
loader.
your top loaders aren't bad, but it's still fun having like I don't know what it is about a label, and that slab doesn't look bad that you have. Like when Chip loaded that one up that he had, like it was crystal clear. It looks good having him in the hard case, and I don't know, just something about it.
UV protected too,
Pretty
so
good.
that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And,
Yeah, I
and
just
we,
think, like-
we can at Whack Comics we can teach you how to make a slab too. We've done it a couple times.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because I
Yeah.
would love to turn this from a 2.0 to like a 9.8.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can do
you
it.
can.
There's
Then
two
I'm,
ways.
Then I'm paying
there's
off my
two-
home.
Two easy ways to do that. You one buy one of those do-it-yourself slabs, or two, just send it to PGX.
Oh yeah.
Just slip a
Yeah.
20 in between the paperwork.
They're like, this is definitely a 9.8. Okay.
So
I-
this past. Go ahead.
Lee will have to teach you that, Bert. Lee was a pro in that.
So y'all want to talk some books? Y'all want to review some books? It
Yeah,
wasn't too
let's talk
heavy of
about
a
some
week.
books. No, this was a light week compared to what's about to happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
This Wednesday is about to crush me. Good Lord. It's like every good book ever.
Dude, I got to tell you, Ryan, I noticed and I was excited Thursday when you were talking about your pickups and you were actually picking up books. I can see the excitement in your face.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
I heard that there's a lot coming out, but I haven't seen. So I guess I'm going to be surprised this
There's
week.
Yeah.
there's a lot of fire covers coming out this week too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The B cover for that one. The B cover for that one. That's nice.
Oh, I didn't know that was out this week.
Batman, Superman. I'm so excited for that.
I probably won't read that.
That bad boy. Yeah.
Oh, Robin.
Yep. Oh, I forgot about Robin. Crap, I gotta add that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
This
so
is
much
Darth
good stuff.
Vader's been so
Todd
good.
Department
McFarlane,
of Truth.
Todd McFarlane did a variant for his own Spawn cover, and that one's glorious too.
What a boss move. I want to variant my own comic.
Oh, Shadecraft.
Sanford
Yeah,
Green does.
Shadecraft, Shadow Doctor, what? Bitter Root.
Yeah, for Bitter Root,
There's
he
just
does
some
the
of
main
them.
covers and the variant covers that are like homages to different movies and albums and stuff.
Yeah, and I talked about this in the video I dropped yesterday. If you're a Miles fan, if you're a comic book speculator, you should be picking up every single Miles Morales book right now. He's doing his own clone saga, so they're
Yep.
about to be throwing in all kinds of new characters, and you never
Yep.
know in a clone saga when they're going to say, that wasn't Miles 3 issues ago, that was me.
That's right.
Or, this can happen any moment.
And there's a Mark Bagley Skyline variant coming out for the Miles this week too.
Nice.
I wish they'd say it like that too. That wasn't him 3 issues ago. Just like in
Right.
quotes.
Just like that.
Oh,
Editor's
no.
Oh, fiddlesticks. What is going up, Scott, over at Quarterside? And
So,
Chip dropped the link to those comic skins. Those that's the
what is
name
that?
of it. Comic skins, those cases, the do-it-yourself slabs that
Oh, okay.
EGS uses. Comic skins.
Let me save that for later. Oh, those look nice.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. The custom label stuff that you can do with them is really, really cool. Because I've had I'm really slow to do anything, but when I saw the EGS stuff, I have all those DC anniversaries, like how they have the Superman 1000 issue, and they have the Del Auto cover looking like Christopher Reeve sitting on the Fortress of Solitude chair. And I got the Del Auto for Action 1000 and Action 1027, the Flash 80th Del Auto. I got all the Del Auto ones, and I would like to have had them slabbed up with nice little labels and everything. But I don't care about the grade or anything, just for good display purposes. But I think those are too thick for the comic skins. I think there's a page count limit, and those are all 80 pages.
Yeah, I think you said it was like 60 or something around there.
They look good on the wall in this image too.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, with his updated one, the EGS will be able to do that, and then you'll be able to do that. I think that's coming soon, so I'm hoping. Because I've got one I want to send to him too that I can't yet because it's too thick.
And do you have any reason why you're not wanting it to send it to the other companies?
Well, I'm not going to send anything to CGC anymore because like 100 reasons. And
you owe them some money right now, buddy.
Well, yeah, I have a bunch going in right now, but yeah, you're right with Invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for they like have like glue on the inside, so that sucks. But I'm not going to get it re-slabbed because I don't want to risk the grade for one, and two, like them messing it up and really, really messing up the grade.
He's sending what, a 9.4 for certain 9.4 in your opinion?
I thought it was going to be a 9.4. I was crossing my fingers for it.
That was what he was being optimistic about. You can see the damages. You can see the damages when you hold up the 9.8 slab and look at it.
Yeah, my 9.6 miles looks better than my 9.8 Invincible.
They were really hoping this is how we get repeat customers, guys. Give them 9.8.
Yeah, or they can charge. They try to charge me too for it, so because it's worth more. Maybe that's what it is. It gives them more money.
They are now, Scott. If they want
Right.
more.
They should just hyphenate more like me. I put hyphen whatever suffix I want on any word.
All right, let's talk some books.
Cool. Start with Chris. How was that Way of X? That's the Nightcrawler book, right?
Yeah, thumbs way down.
Yeah. I've heard like pretty mixed reviews across the board. Some people seem to really like it, and a lot of people also didn't seem to like it.
It's Mark and I spoke about it briefly backstage, and it's a lot of word salad. He mentioned that to me, and I'm like, yep, that's a perfect description of this book. It's funny, we have Nightcrawler. Basically, the book is about a cult starting up on the mutant island of Krakoa, and Nightcrawler seems to be on top of it, chatting with Professor X, thinking that it's all a bad idea. And I did find the irony, like, really, Nightcrawler is going to try and bring down a cult, considering he's a part of the biggest cult in the world. But it's just, yeah, I thought it was not that good.
Like creating his own religion or something?
Magneto, believe it or not, of course. And I'm a big fan of Nightcrawler. I've been a big fan of Nightcrawler since I was 13 or 14 with the Claremont run on X-Men back in the 80s and the 90s. And I thought it was going to be like a lot of swashbuckling fun, and that was not present. That was not present at all. It was, it was something I won't be picking up issue 2 of. For those that enjoy religious Marvel comic books, God bless you. I'm not into reading about religion. I greatly understand and respect people's faiths, but that this book was just not for me. It lost me after page 4.
So it was Pocan Joe here in his review Friday night that because I don't pick up X titles right now. You're gonna have to do something magical to get me back on X titles. And X-Men hasn't been decent in my mind since Joss Whedon's run back before he was Disclaimer. Yeah, disclaimer. I hit it right. Thank you.
Okay, shrink me down. Chris
is getting a little self-conscious.
Yeah, shrink me down.
He's like, don't say Joss Whedon while I'm big on the screen.
I don't want nothing to do with that freaking can of worms.
It was Joe that I heard his breakdown of that book and everything about it. He's very, very like honest with his breakdowns. If it's okay, you hear him say it's okay. If it's bad, you hear him say it's bad. But he gives you the whys. Like that's what really matters. Like is why didn't you like it? Because you can hear someone say it's good or bad, and you can have no context of if you want to go look at or try out or pick up or whatever. But when they give you some reasons of why, it kind of gives you more insight on it. Now, I did hear John from John's Comics with Kids this morning sing its praises, like absolutely sing its praises. And I'm like, that seems a little odd because he's kind of what is it called? Like when you're like really up to speed on literary stuff.
Well read.
Well read. He's a teacher and he's well read. So I don't know how it hit with him. And I heard it missed with so many other people for the same reson that Joe mentioned with the whole word salad thing. Chip. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how they handle the religion. I think, religion itself is infinitely interesting, but if you're playing into the, like, it's a real good thing, that's an issue. But if you're commenting on religion, then I can be interested as long as you're doing it well enough.
Like Ron V.
Yeah. Layla Starr was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I saw you talking about that. I need to read that one.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, Layla Starr. Man, one thing I want to say, Layla Starr, the book, right? It uses like this super thin, like light paper, and it actually feels really good. I liked it. That was just like one thing I noticed about, the physicality of it is like the paper was different from most comics I read, and I really appreciate it because it was like this kind of like light paper. It wasn't so thin you could see through it, but so you didn't have like image bleed or anything. But it was cool. It was a different kind of paper than I'm used to. But the story itself, like I didn't, probably like a quarter of the way in, I was like, oh, okay, like I see what the plot points here are going to be. Like I kind of knew where it was headed. But Ram V's writing was just so good. It was so much fun to move through. It reminded me a lot of Future State Wonder Woman with Yara Flor. Like you kind of just get dropped in this world with no explanation and things are unfolding around you. And like she meets this ghost character and that kind of seems to know a lot more about the ghost world, I guess, and like the things that are going on, and it reminded me a lot of Yara Flor, the Wonder Woman book, like how fun it was. It was this adventure. It's this world where you really don't quite know everything. Like you have an idea because these are basic human concepts, but at the same time, like you don't know exactly how, like at least for me, how the Hindu religion is structured and stuff. And so getting introduced to their gods and the way that they play into the mortals and the human world, and then having a deity come there and take over this body and stuff. Just it was a lot of fun watching her wake up and just be like, ow, why does it hurt? Well, because the body you occupied just died because that girl fell like 15 stories, like it's gonna hurt. Your bones are all messed up, and then the way that they that Ram V like writes her internal dialogue and stuff, it's just a lot of fun. You can tell it's a fish out of water kind of person.
Oh, you said you hadn't read it yet?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, all I caught was the preview last week for it. There's still a couple of books, even though it's a light week that I haven't been able to get to yet. Some other things dominated my time. Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, that dominated your time?
Yeah, I watched it twice. That was a dumb move. I was like, maybe the second time I'll get something else out of it. But dude, after I watched it twice, I'm like, I have to fix this. So I watched the original One in Annihilation back to back with my wife and with Finn, and we had a blast. Like it totally, flipped and moved right back up. It was perfect. It was called The Many Deaths of Lila Starr from Boom Studios by Ram V. It's a new book. And I did look to see if it was on the shelf because I just planned on picking up I didn't add it to my pull or anything, but I was just going to grab it, but there was none. Had my LCS when I went Friday. So
what is it? Oh, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
I was like, man, you told him the name of the book and then he was out. What happened?
Oh, so quick. Judge a book by its cover much?
Man, like the thing, man, Layla Starr was, man, it might be my read of the week. I don't know. There was a lot of quality books that came out this week. It's really hard to just pick one to be at the top, but Layla Starr really impressed me. It was one of those books, like when I started reading it, both times, I read it twice, and both times, like I just got so sucked into it, like time ceased to exist, the world around me went away, and I just really enjoyed being in the moment and turning each page and finding out what was going to happen next.
I do plan on reading. I'm probably going to read a digital one of it at some point this in the next couple of days, hopefully. And I have to finish reading Power Rangers #6. I've had that available to me for weeks now. And I haven't read it, and I have my physical copy and I haven't got around to it. Tyler, what have you read from this week you want to talk about?
I'm a little behind, but I've read most things. I need to read Layla Starr, and I've read Haha. Did anyone read Haha?
Mm-mm.
No.
Talk about it.
It was a solid read. Basically, Gustav the Magnificent. He's at a birthday party, and all of a sudden he just disappears into a balloon and starts floating up along with a lot of other objects. And it was good, but it's not as good as Ice Cream Man. And this was probably my least favorite issue, I guess, but it was still solid. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Obviously, if you've read Ice Cream Man, but it's not. It just wasn't quite as good. Weird. I don't know. I think like Ice Cream Man felt like it feels like it has like a vision with the Ice Cream Man, how creepy he is, and this feels more of just like random stories that don't really have a vision or tie in as well together. But there's still some really good issues in there. This is just probably my least favorite. I read Power Rangers. Sorry, what did you say?
I was going to say, does Ha have a connecting thread like Ice Cream Man does? Because that's a reoccurring character that kind of goes through all the issues, right?
No, this one's the same character.
It's all different characters, different clowns.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was all just like that one clown going through each issue.
Just different ones. Like
because I read the first one, I just didn't stick around on it.
Yeah, the second one is like a female clown going to a circus, and then the third one is a silent issue with a different clown, and this one's Gustav, as that his name.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And so it was all right. Power Rangers #6. I thought it was a solid one. It was definitely like fun, but it wasn't my favorite one. Did anyone read that one?
Yeah. I just finished it before I got on.
Yeah, it was still good. I don't know. I think I'm enjoying Mighty Morphin more.
Me too.
See, I'm more into Power Rangers, and I really like this issue because of what it did, like for like the universe building and the lore. Like it had some great character moments in there too, but bringing in Astronema and Ecliptor and having SPD there and creating a relationship between them, because Zordon put them like on a hit list that like they're wanted, and SPD is like these patrollers, these cops, and so now they've confronted SPD, like they're at odds with them, and so that's going to be interesting for them moving through the rest of the universe, like they can't, now they're outlaws everywhere they go.
Now I read the first few pages when I was at my LCS picking up books, and I just kind of sitting there enjoying just being out the house, and I did notice this is finally, after so much talk ever since New Dawn, the first comic appearance of Dark Spectre.
Mm-hmm.
So for Power Ranger people, that was kind of monumental, and that's actually as far as I got.
It's a train heist, which has been like a thing lately, and I'm loving it. We saw it in Catwoman Future State.
Yeah, I was about to say that was so
probably
good.
Just the heist itself in Power Rangers wasn't like super crazy awesome, but it was still cool. I enjoyed the one in Catwoman. The last issue of East of Eden, Undone by Blood. That one was a train heist issue. Like that's a thing that's going on for some reason right now, and I'm loving it. Every train heist I'm in.
I will say, even though I didn't love it, I would still read this like 12 times in a row over the last 12 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Just this one issue, because it's still really good. It's just not.
Mighty Morphin did not keep strong at all.
Oh, I hated
those last 15 issues were
horrible.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Now, one that I've read that I doubt any of y'all picked up was Superman Red and Blue #2. That first one was garbage. And I'm like, the first one was an unnecessary intro to who Superman is. Like we don't need that. And then on top of that, they got the worst writers in the world to tackle Superman. John Ridley does not belong on Superman. Great writer, does some good other stuff, but he categorically misunderstands Superman. And I'll say that and take it to my grave. But this one was actually pretty fun. So it kind of has a little opening up with a Martha story which was kind of cool. Just as it's 5 stories, so they're real short, but you get a really cool Hank Henshaw story in here, a cool Val Zod story in here. So this was more of like what I kind of expected out of the first one, with actual action and fighting and recognizable other characters inside of the Superman lore. But it's still not something that's really like blowing me away. And for $6, you know, they're 5 short stories for $6, so like they have to really nail at least 3 of them to make it worth it, you know. But in it, so at this point, I don't
Did
regret
they even
picking
hit
it up.
any of the characterizations of Superman in this one?
Oh yeah, dude, it was
Because the last
John
one they
Ridley was nowhere
completely
to be
missed
found.
it.
Yeah, John Ridley was nowhere to be found. This was fantastic. Like the Hank
Last time it
Henshaw
was like,
story
you guys just don't understand how much Superman really wants to kill people. Like, you just
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah, y'all don't get it.
Terrible, terrible,
That was John
Yeah, it was so
Ridley's
bad. I was like,
contribution to
terrible.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that made me want to throw the book. But look at this artwork. Like, I'm not big on the color hold stuff for no reason, you know, like it doesn't make sense. But this artist who did this Hank Henshaw story did fantastic.
Oh yeah, that actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
I mean,
I'm not into the like this one. What is it? Red and blue, and then they did like the black and pink for Harley, and they have like black and gold coming out for Wonder Woman. Like
Yeah.
those gimmicky art things really don't hold me. I'm
no, but
not
the story,
interested.
the Hank Henshaw story was cool. Like, he's on this this island where he's been developing stuff, and there's like one survivor left there because he was developing this weapon and turned it on, and the first thing it did was kill everyone there. And Superman shows up and saves the kid and everything, and it gets to the point where, like, you know, Superman. He saw the best way to win this fight against Hank Henshaw and his creation was just to grab the kid and leave no one to fight but those two, and it just turns on Henshaw. So these writers understand Superman. You know, he's looking at a problem solving, and he actually, by saving someone, you actually just won the fight against that guy. You know, you ain't got to swing a fist in this moment. Like, there was plenty of fist swinging, but dude, it was good. It was good. But I don't think I want to continue to pay $6 for it. And there's a story where Lex Luthor was experimenting with red kryptonite for the first time, and just it was awesome. It was a cool back and forth with Lex and Clark, where Lex fires up this machine with red kryptonite, where the closer he gets to it, the more powerful it gets. So Superman just backs up and blasts it. So then the next page, it's the opposite. The farther away you get, the more powerful I get. So in one panel, he like traverses like a great distance. It looked like that scene in the Snyder Cut where he just flies up on Wonder Woman and grabs her wrist before she can slam the bracelets together, and it just keeps going till Lex just gives up. Like, Superman never goes too far. He takes a hit when he has to, but he just gets to the same conclusion of like, I'm still standing, you're still looking at me from down there. You know, what are you going to do next? And it was classic Superman for the most part, but they're just, again, not enough to pay the $6.99.
Yeah, we need a writer that can write Superman as not like a dumb guy. Superman's a very intelligent character.
He is.
Like I get that they like to compare Superman to Bruce Wayne or whatever, and somehow they think there's a great divide between the two, or then they just assume that Superman's just, you know, left foot, right foot kind of guy, when that's not the case at all.
No,
He's just
Dude,
he's way more
Grant
heartfelt than
Morrison
what
subtly-
Bruce Wayne is. Yeah.
Yeah, his
Grant Morrison
his
subtly
EQ
showed
is
that
like
with
through the
Superman.
roof.
Yeah.
You remember when he's just casually walking through the fortress with Lois, like creating little galaxies in his hands, and like he deals with stuff so next level. And Lex Luthor is his main villain. Like, yeah, you can't be dumb. That's not a thing.
Right.
It's not a thing.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he's a
Next
news
book.
reporter. Come on now.
Yeah.
I can just tell you everything I read the rest of the way, and then you can tell me what I've read. Resonant, I read Home number 2, Radiant Black number 3, Ultra Mega, and my pick of the week was Stray Dogs number 3.
Home
Well, I've
number
got-
2.
I've got
Yeah,
two of
that
those.
comes out in a couple weeks. The writer reached out on Twitter
Oh, okay.
to a bunch of people, and then I messaged him, and he sent me Home
I
number
was
2.
gonna say, yeah. I was like, I didn't think that was out yet.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Ryan's like slick jealous right now.
you don't
was
have
so
to
hyped
be,
about
because
that.
if you message him, he'll send it to you.
I
For
don't-
sure.
Not if you saw
Man.
my review.
Blood in, blood out.
I think you'll really like number 2. even
That's
with
good.
you not liking number 1. I even thought of that
Yeah.
after I read it.
I mean, it was like a 6 for me, so I'm still sticking with the series because I want to see how it plays out. But I did feel like there was some slight misses there.
Chris, tell us about how Captain Marvel is banging Doctor Strange.
What? And what?
Chris is
Okay,
about
blow
to
me,
explain
blow
it.
me up then. Blow me up. I'll show you.
This is
Is
the
this
only
family
fans content
friendly?
we're looking for.
This was my pick for the week, and yeah. So Marvel's just trying to, or Kelly Thompson, who's actually a very good writer, is trying to drive home how hurt Captain Marvel is that she lost to Ove in the future. And if you want to represent a bad villain and how powerful they are, you have them kill a main character. So this is Ove and what he did to Captain America, that is. And then so it turns out that's all just a dream, or just remembering what happened in a form of a nightmare. And so Captain Marvel decides that the only way that she can defeat Ove in the present day, so that the future actually doesn't happen, is she needs to learn magic. So where does she go? To see Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange says, "You're coming for all the wrong reasons, and by the way, I can't even teach you if I wanted to, because look how ridiculous you look." So then she of course changes her outfit, so now she has, at least they didn't over sexualize the new costume.
Yeah.
And so they gave her a new costume, and they go to this they go to a club where there's no doors, so it's full of sorcerers, but they do preach that they have a no Loki policy. So all sorcerers that practice magic are welcome except for Loki. And they come across basically a pair of washroom doors for men and women, but there's a third one that has a cat on the door. And what it represents is when you go into this cat room, it's actually acting like where you become Schrodinger's cat. So it's just a question of what you're dealing with on the inside. You have personally, you have to deal with inside the box for Schrodinger. So she goes in, and of course, it's an epic fail, and it's apparently supposed to be a harbinger of what happens. And she fails again with Ove, and Doctor Strange says, "Well, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. Schrodinger's room says you're going to fail, so you're going to fail. But here, I will give you a big solid kiss for just no reason at all." And yeah,
there it is. That's how she got the power.
that's it.
It's a magic kiss.
That's the magic kiss. So then she's all hurt that Doctor Strange has said no, that she's not going to train her because she's been foretold she will fail. So then she goes to basically every Marvel character who practices magic of some sort. She goes to Brother Voodoo, Wiccan, Magic, who is one of my favorite characters, by the way, Sister Grimm, Talisman, the Scarlet Witch, and they all keep saying no, 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 till she actually goes to Ove's mother, who is the Enchantress, and that's how the book kind of cliffhangs. And it's just a question: will the Enchantress, who is the mother of the villain that she needs to defeat, train Captain Marvel to become a Sorceress Supreme?
Why is she so tasked with being the one to stop this person, opposed to any of these other people in this long list of capable people?
I'm glad you asked that, because not only does she does Ove kill Captain America, he also wipes out all the Avengers. Pardon me about the glare. So you can see up top there's Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Black Widow, a couple other young Avengers I don't recognize, I'm sorry. And then Ove just literally blasts them to eternity. And that's the end of the Avengers.
But that's none of the magic
that's-
people that she went to for help.
That's right. So what she's figuring is that brute force, that you can shrink me again, man. Brute force that the
I think
Avengers
Chris nailed it right here, because it's a Captain Marvel title.
Captain Marvel figures that she needs a new strategy to take on Ove, because brute force by her and the Avengers can't take down Ove, who is son of Namor and the Enchantress in the distant future. I think it said 2055. But yeah, it bills itself as a foundation book for the next story arc That's why it was my pick of the week. Like I said, I do enjoy Kelly Thompson, and I have liked some of the other Captain Marvel books that have come out earlier in this run, because this is issue 28. And I like what Ryan said with 6 about the book that he was talking about there, The Independent. I would probably give this a 5.5 or a 6. The interiors are really good, but it was almost comical how she was bouncing around from sorcerer to sorcerer, figuring that she needs to try and get a new power to take on Ove. But yeah, why she decides that she needs magic to take on Ove, I'm presuming it's just because, like I said, brute force with her and the Avengers couldn't stop him. She's desperate to try something else to change the future.
Interesting.
So
Ryan, what
guys,
you
tell
got
me.
next?
I was gonna say, tell me, Ultra Mega.
Yes.
Ultra Mega was
I'm
really
happy.
fun.
I'm happy to talk it. I did read that one.
Let's go.
Absolute 10 out of 10 in my book.
Did we
you
all
read
read
it,
it?
Chris?
I got it right here. I can't miss
Dude.
out on Mark's hot pick of the week. Come on, guys.
Dude.
All right.
Don't keep saying that, because I'm gonna have to buy stuff like Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange to get it on.
I got the
Kiss, they
bloody
just
cover.
kiss.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
these things are. All right, I was very concerned. Like the first book, I'm sitting there reading, absolutely being blown away, page by page, and then I get to the end and see that it was a total just like curveball. Like all we did, we just saw a glimpse in the past of like the first big epic loss that civilization took, and we're going to jump into the future and follow this kid and everything. How's this going to play out? But really, all it did was get better. Like they took the world that you thought was in bad shape, they put it in worse shape and created that foundation to move up from. But I love the intro, even when they kind of go into more of the actual history of like the first Ultra Mega and like
Yeah,
the
that
birth of
beginning
the
part
virus.
was so cool.
Yeah.
Yes, and just the whole world they're setting up here, and
Yeah.
there's a lot to unpack in this. So I'm not going to like start trying to do it all, but yeah, I was blown away by it.
Yeah. Like the first one blew me away, and I was like, this is like a 4.5 or 5 for me, you know. And then I read this one, I was like, oh no, this is way better than that first one. Like, that first one's still incredible. Like, I wouldn't say don't read it, you know, but this one was actually a lot, and it's rare that a number 2 is this strong, but this one like melted my face, man.
After really liking the first one, and then they kind of like go sideways. I would say sideways, because it's not really forward, even though it is. It's like just different in general.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like it. Like right away, I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be as good." And then it was way better.
Yeah,
it was so
like,
good. It was such
I like
a cool
the way
story.
this looks, but I was like, I'm not sure how into it I am. And then like, dude breaks out of that box, and then the other one breaks out, and he's like, we're gonna fight. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Let's do it.
Like, that's all it took.
That fight in the beginning too was awesome. That first fight that destroyed stars, that toppled planets, and
When he goes through the sun, man,
he
like,
goes through.
so
Yeah. Melee tore across the cooling natal universe itself. Their bodies glowing white hot as their spirits smear across space time. That was nuts.
What was that
And then
red guy
that
called?
whole
The
scene-
Kaiju King or something?
That whole
He
little
was so
scene
cool.
where that the little alien race for that one page, they're showing them, and they're like, oh, it feels so good to have a dream about this one arm off, and then it pops up, and they just turn around, and the Mega's already there,
yeah.
just right there. Like, dude, that little subtleness. I would love just to see more of that. Even.
Did you mean Lord
Yeah.
Gara? Is that what you were asking?
I think that's who. Yeah, he looked really cool.
Yeah, that's a sinister looking villain, man.
Yeah.
I think this could have been like a whole series, like a 6-issue series, just this one issue. I would have loved to seen even more just out of this one issue. It was so cool.
Dude, how about the flashback with him when he was even younger with Seth? Like when the wall went up and they had everyone who they deemed infected outside in the scab land and everything, and you just see that he has that one little flash when he first sees the Kaiju King dude or whoever it is, like with the red helmet, and he flashes back to Seth standing there with his hand on the wall with like 10 like swords and knives.
Just like blood dripping.
He's
down
like, get out of
every
here.
bit of him.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
He's like,
like,
don't worry, I'm gonna protect you. Get out of
I'm
here.
going to protect you. He's And what he's doing, it looks like he's slick covering him up. Like they're behind
Yeah.
Seth in the open door, and he's got his hand over him with his back to the door. And then that one scene, like later on in the book, where the kid, I forget his name because there's too much going on in this book to care what his name is yet. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to read this like 2 or 3 more times.
yeah, he's sitting there having that dream of being a mega and everything, and he's destroying that kaiju, and he's eating it, and suddenly he feels sick, and then he just flashes that he is Seth with that final
the
sword
coming
out.
through.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was insane. And how
Dude,
about
that hammer? That hammer was so cool,
that's
man.
what I was about to do. How about going to the food pickup? So once a year, the healthy city or the more healthy city does a food drop for all the people out here in this badland. You know, it's like being outside of the wall of Mega City and Judge Dredd. You just don't want to be there. But they do a food drop, and so he's been tasked to go get the supplies and everything and come back, and he runs across this guy who used to be a protector fighting the kaiju cults that now I don't think he's anything anymore at this point. Like, he sold him out so fast.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely sold him out. I'm like,
yeah, this book like throws every curveball at you. Like, it's crazy. You're like, okay, he's got some friends, like we're good to go, and then he just like sells them out like it's nothing.
He didn't just sell him out. He didn't even say over there. He's like, here's his name. Here's where he's from. Here's
all of his friends, known accomplices. And in fact, he's sitting right there on those stairs next to me.
Yeah, right there.
Like, are you kidding me? At first, I'm like, oh, okay, like he's gonna tell them they're over there, and so they're all gonna go over there looking for him, and he's gonna be like, okay, well now we need to do something about us. But no, he just ends it with, and he's right there on the stairs.
This is the kid of the Ultra Mega from the first issue who died trying to save the city, and it was cool seeing little things like the hammer you're talking about. Like, there's this guy who's supposed to be protecting the people who aren't part of the kaiju cult, and he has a hammer made out of the bone of a tooth of a kaiju or something, or one of the Ultra Megas. And it's like the most dense material that they've ever had to work with.
And you see it whenever he throws that hammer down, it's like half sunk into the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they kind of set up this thing where the kid is just living hand to mouth, you know, him and a couple people that he knows, but he's been remote piloting some of the robots that we see in the first one, kind of just going out, pretty much playing around, spying on the kaiju cult and picking fights with them. And it
Which
backfired.
he's not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, because he's risking the safety of everyone around him. And he's just really kind of feels motivated to do something against it because he feels like everyone's forgotten what the Ultra Megas have done for us, and they haven't been seen a real kaiju in, did they say months or years? Or no, they said decades and decades.
Yeah.
So the final kaiju was the fight that we saw in that first issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the very end, you see a truck going to dump a lot of crap down into this big hole in the ground. And you see him dump like all kinds of garbage as well as a dead body. And it falls into the hole and it falls down. And you find out this is the hole that was punched into the ground at the end of the first issue when the Ultra Mega grabbed his power source off his chest and fired his own hand off through the earth to keep it away from the bad guy. And there it is. And somehow whether it's being protected by someone or did it itself, it has a little structure around it, like a little lean-to. And there's the fist like in the back. So we're like that was like an amazing cliffhanger even. Like we're about to like it was, dude. This is like Daniel Warren Johnson level stuff.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, this is like really cool, like late 80s anime sci-fi, how they just like create these worlds that kind of combine like all your favorite different things and just like create like this really cool world that just keeps unfolding. But it's got like this metal like nature to it, like Daniel Warren Johnson, where like I mean that fight with the robot and he's like coming in for that punch and that dude has that like badass shotgun with spikes. He's just like boom, like gets him in the foot and just like stakes him to the ground. He's like, yeah, you're not gonna fight me. You're not ready for this.
Dude, I legit thought it was a kid. I had no clue it was a robot.
Yes.
Like I thought we were getting another crazy, just major turn real quick when he's like talking to him. And he just with no real pizzazz, just shoots him in the face. Bam.
Yeah.
And then doesn't stop there. Bam. Bam. Yeah.
He's like loading it up and just Shoots like 6 spikes right in your face.
It was wild to say the least.
Yeah. Everything about this book is just so cool. Like it's like this world where I mean he's just like throwing everything he can think of at it, and he's making it all work though. Like that's the big
I was about
difference.
to say, it all sticks.
Yeah.
Like throwing everything at the wall and having it all stick is the complete opposite of a big movie that I saw recently.
Yeah.
Do you
very
guys
true.
know how many issues it's supposed to be?
Mm-mm.
I haven't.
I thought it was 6.
Ooh, 6. That's a lot. That'd be good.
Not enough.
I mean,
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's
We'll
like
see.
That is a
over
lot.
2
Yeah.
issues per.
But
So,
yeah,
I
the
mean, you
size
got
of
to
the
think
book
that's
and
like
everything is
15
just-
issues total if you want to
Yeah.
like go by page count.
Now I did
Yeah.
at that first issue, you had the letter in the back of it from I don't know if it was from the writer himself. I think it was a letter from the writer talking about how
I think so.
when he was pitching and talking about this, like the last thing he wanted to do was be restrained to like the 20-something page count. He just couldn't see it working that way. And Image was like, then don't.
Yeah.
So I
That's
thought
good freedom.
That's super cool.
That's good freedom from the editor.
Yeah.
That was a very smart call on their part.
It
Oh,
worked
yeah.
for this too. That doesn't always work having a longer issue. Sometimes it can get stale or boring or it's just too much. Easily could have cut stuff out. I don't see how they could have cut out anything.
Oh yeah.
There's no fat on this book at all.
No.
No.
If any, like
No.
I said, I wish there was more. I
Mhm.
think it could be almost twice as long with the same story. Just give me more of it.
Yeah.
It's really weird for a single issue like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Yeah,
those in
I've
the chat,
enjoyed
if you
that.
haven't picked it up, go get Ultra Mega. 2 issues in, they're $7.99, but they are severely oversized books, and they don't
Kind
waste
of
real estate.
undervalued at $7.99.
Yeah, they do not waste real estate. You're not getting
Yeah.
like nothing.
There's no
but
ads through it to the
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
ads.
No ads to the
There's
back.
a
Yeah.
lot
Like
of
not that I'm
dialogue.
encouraging Image to raise the price, but yeah, $7.99 is kind of a steal for the amount of what you're
Yeah.
getting in this.
The covers too. The first cover, the covers of number 1, I thought were all winners. Like there's usually one better than the other. I don't think there was one better than the other personally. I think they were all amazing, and same with issue 2. I ended up picking up the bloody one because I just thought it was super cool, but it was like 1A, 1B, 1C, any of them.
Any of them.
I mean, the other thing that stands out too is the colors. Like, oh my god, I just love that. Like, there's a comic book right now that's like putting some really cool colors out there. I feel like everything anymore is always like, let's make it kind of dark and dreary and like, let's not put too many colors in there. It'll blind the people or something. This book's like, no, we're gonna melt your face off with color, and you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. Well, speaking of the opposite of color, did anyone else read Radiant Black?
Oh, I wish I had
Segues.
my copy.
We're
Great
all about
segue.
segues around here.
I have the good cover too. I don't have it on me though.
This is the cover A.
The white one.
No,
with the,
no, I have the real good one.
I thought you were going to segue into You Promised Me Darkness.
Yeah.
Which I
You've
haven't
seen
read
the
yet.
cover B, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're all pretty good.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about for Radiant Black.
I don't
Oh,
remember
yeah.
what it looked like. I don't even.
It's the one that I got with the blank white cover
It's
with
the
the
word-
like all
yeah,
the
it's
computer
awful.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
This files like a file,
Yeah.
like a computer.
Yeah, this-
It's like,
I like
are
it.
you sure
Yeah.
that you really want to write this novel and like the cursors on the no?
Yeah. So there
I
weren't
like
really
that
any
cover,
fire
though.
covers then. For
I
this
enjoyed
one.
it.
That was almost a spoiler cover.
So
Yeah.
I was able to read like the first half of this book, almost all of this book. Did I read all this book? I'm not sure. I got to the changing of the tire part, so almost all the book.
Hmm.
But I liked it. As soon as I opened it up, because I was going to try to read it real quick before the show. I had like 5 minutes, so I opened it up and I got to that second page where it's literally a piece of his book he's trying to write. I said, "There's no way I'm
Yeah.
about to be able to crunch this book." And then I turned the page again and I saw all the dialogue on the computer. I'm like, "There's no way I'm about to not read all this. I'm gonna have to read all these little computer screens." And I'm like, and I started reading, like, I'm so happy I did, because this is actually really good. This is really cool. And I like how they're kind of flashing in like now maybe his powers are going to start communicating with him a little here. So I don't really know where they're going with it, but it was cool seeing him actually write, trying to see his creative process. And I about threw the book in the air laughing so hard when I saw the little Mighty Morphin lawsuit scratched out on it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was funny, dude. This
Yeah.
dude cannot get over it.
No, yeah. They you know, he knows his audience. He's definitely playing to us.
Yeah.
All the like posters and stuff. What was it? Memento was Rememories.
Yeah. So this one, there wasn't, again, I hadn't finished it yet, but what I read wasn't bad. It looks like he's trying to get in the swing of things. You know, I don't really care for his friend working on the whole social media aspect of it. I don't care to see like what they're doing in ASM being done in Radiant Black, where the hero's trying to social media stuff or whatever it was. I said
I was a
Spider-Man was
little bit
doing.
hesitant on that until we got to like the car, the tire changing thing, because that was a social media post. That was Twitter. He
Mhm.
was like, "Yo, Radiant Black, help us out," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a superhero. Like that's a thing I can do." And
But
so
that's
he like
also
goes to
what like
do it.
Kick-Ass already did, though. You know, that's
True, but I thought it like not that I want to see him on social media all the time or anything, but I thought it was a nice aspect to kind of tie it to the modern world, and I thought it was kind of cool that he used it to, you know, like a police scanner, like something that you know Peter would have done in the '60s or whatever, you know,
or in the
like he's
Sam
tapping
Raimi
into the
movies,
world. Yeah,
the
you know, like he's
60s.
tapping into the world
Like
to try
social
to
media
find
is not that
something to
old,
do,
Ryan.
you know?
He said in the 60s. Social media's been around for like
I
what?
said I said a police scanner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those were around in the '60s.
yeah. But he was still using them in like the 2000s.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I completely get why they did it. It makes sense. It isn't necessarily for me. Just that part just kind of loses my interest. But it's an angle to keep him and his friend relevant with each other, I guess, as well. You know, because it's his friend that's working on all that. But yeah, I'm that issue 2 really got me. I liked it a lot. This issue, I still got to finish it, but it seems like a kind of a filler issue so far. And there's nothing wrong with that. You got to have them to start building your characters and stuff. I am intrigued about that dream he had where you see the character without
Yeah.
the cape and the collar and everything. Like that looks super cool. So I want to
I
see.
did think the second one was a little stronger because it really like humanized his dad and him as
Mhm.
well, you know, but especially like brought his dad into the fold and kind of taught you kind of the perspective he's being given as far as like guidance in the world, you know, very like Uncle Ben-ish, you know. He doesn't know that he's a superhero, but he also just like knows this in general is how life works, and you got to be good at that part to be good at the superhero part as well, you know. And so I thought that was a great way to humanize him. And then in this issue, we kind of like we kind of find out like where the inner conflict for Nathan himself is. And I think that was really cool, you know, because he's trying to write, but he's having all this like writer's block, and he's kind of trying to like grow up and realize that like it's not going to happen overnight and he needs to be responsible. But then that change in his life leads to success, which also kind of leads to a downfall because then he gets obsessed with writing again because now he's having those breakthroughs. And so it just kind of like, and then he's got like the superhero thing with Radiant Red and then this like weird dream, you know, so you're kind of getting all of his internal conflict all in one issue.
This seemed like one of those day in the life of kind of issues, you know, where it's nothing major, nothing minor. It's just a day in the life of, but he's not established yet. So why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally didn't really love the issue, and I think it was the opposite of you guys. I didn't like hearing what he had to think or seeing what he had to think. And then I did like when he used Twitter to be a superhero because he's like, I don't know what to do. Sure, yeah, that's a good idea. I thought that was kind of neat. Like it was different.
Yeah.
So I just thought the
I thought that was a
opposite,
cool
I guess.
idea.
But
I just thought the red mist was going to pull up in his Mustang at any minute. Like just straight out of the movie Kick-Ass. Like it's a total Mark Wade steal.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that's see, I thought that was cool because he was kind of like, I'm a superhero, so like what should I do? And then he like opens up social media and boom, like there's a job, you know? Like there's a thing you can be doing to be a hero. But yeah, I don't want to see him on Twitter like all through every single issue, but I think it's a nice little tool to like kind of help him find things to do to turn into the hero he wants to be.
dude, in writing to people in this area, it makes a lot of sense. Like Tyler, you're big on Twitter, aren't you? Like you like review comics on Twitter. Like it's kind of your
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Yeah, that's where I like met Lee through Twitter and stuff.
It wasn't Grinder.
Well, we like to say it was Twitter anyway.
Okay, I'm just curious.
There was some R's in it,
Yeah. Ryan, I know you. I know you're on Twitter, and that just it might just be a thing where it's something that I don't do, so I don't necessarily like. It just didn't catch with me. There's nothing wrong with it. It
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
like,
It
it's
could,
one of those just on
yeah, I
my
guess it could
profile.
kind of have like something to do with like understanding what Twitter is and like how it works, because
Yeah.
that is the kind of thing. Like you're in Walmart standing in line for like 25 hours to try to check out, and you tweet like, Walmart, what the fuck is going on in here? Like people do that kind of stuff all the time, and it gets you attention because they don't like bad attention on the internet. You're putting out there, I had a terrible experience at this place. Like that place will reach out to you. So it is kind of a thing where people do that.
Now, I do have two more that I read this week, and I've been kind of saving ones that were definitely solid that I enjoyed a lot. Did anyone else read Flash?
Yes.
You had to think about it.
No, I read it. I think we have a different opinion on this one.
I thought it was fun. Thought it was corny. Thought it was cheesy, but I thought it was fun.
See, I would change one of those words.
Just the fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it has some genuine great moments. Don't get me wrong. Like there's some good moments in there. I really liked Gold Beetle. Like everything she was in was great. But the book as a whole for me is just like too corny, too goofy. I feel like Wally has no agency. They play him for the idiot and everything. He has no clue what's going on ever. It's always somebody else telling him what to do. And that kind of annoyed me. Like Wally, I mean, he's not an idiot, It's like we were talking about like Superman. Like you have to have a base level of genius to be able to handle most of what's going on around you. And Wally in this book, and even in the last one to a certain extent, it feels like he never knows anything that's happening around him. And people are always just telling him, you need to do this. You got to do this. Go do this,
That's a valid point. I think I didn't catch it because he's not the one sitting there with all the tools to figure out what's going on. He's the one that's trapped in the middle of something. So instead of him being in a situation where he's stuck to figure it out, somebody who's in a position and more capable to find the answers quicker or providing them to him is the way that I read that myself. Not that he's an idiot at all, but that why would they just leave him to figure it out for himself if they're able to get to the answers quicker from where they're standing?
Yeah, it just always felt like he was a little too lost,
Yeah.
And part of it too, I think this was more of a Gold Beetle book, like this issue, Like she was pretty much the focus
It was
of the whole
fantastic,
book.
dude. That's what made it so.
I'm waiting to see
great.
how
And,
they handle the next one, before
and
I
I
really
think I
make a
mentioned-
decision.
I did think I mentioned. I don't know where we were when we were talking about. I think we were on 3 weeks in past Friday where I was talking about how I'm seeing the format here. Like there's a clear pattern emerging where he's just going to be hopping from repetitive event just in a different setting of the Speed Force is going to take you to this time era. There's going to be an inevitable explosion. And in the first one, it happened. In this one, they were able to stop it, but they weren't able to stop him from being thrown into the next scenario. And the next scenario is World War II with some JSA members. So I am completely there. And what better way to like kind of cap it and end it than in the golden age with Jay Garrett himself, So maybe in the next issue, I can see them kind of getting ahead of it and stopping it progressing. And, going into this Flash run, I wasn't expecting to keep Wally around for long from some of the stuff that I heard about him wanting to retire out or this or that, but they're kind of all over the place with him. They went from right after Death Metal, kind of elevating him to you're in charge of this watch station, heroes, villains alike. We need you to watch over it, to him saying, I'm ready to retire. This is enough, to just getting thrown in the middle of this. So I don't know if we're really into the meat and potatoes of Flash yet, or if they're just kind of just these first few issues are like the last few issues we had before going into Death Metal. It's just something to write. This isn't the actual what's going to be mattering with these characters' lives moving forward. We haven't hit the monthlies yet. It's just a few issues to tide us over till it
Yeah,
gets
I
rolling.
think this first arc ends in like June. And according to everything we knew before we went into this book, it's that Barry's going to kind of go off and do something different, and Flash is going to become a Wally book. So it kind of seems like June is going to be where they kind of make that final crossover into other character. But at the same time, the whole book started with Wally retiring, which is completely opposite of what we were hearing before the book actually released. So I'm not going there. I don't hate any of the artwork in here, but I don't love most of it either. And the fact that it changes every so many pages is kind of frustrating to me.
I don't like the coloring. It looks over digital colored, oversaturated digital effect. It's kind of odd. It takes a few pages to kind of get used to. It's kind of, the Return to Milestone thing that we read.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like super digital artwork. It didn't even look like it looked like a pen or stylus was never even used in the creation. And I kind of get that feel for some of this.
Yeah. The other thing, I've never followed Wally that closely, so maybe I just don't know where he's at currently. But my understanding was like he sat in the Mobius chair and he's like incredibly powerful. He basically became part of the Speed Force at some points. Like all of this insane stuff. Like dude is like a god, and then you drop him into the future with Gold Beetle, and suddenly he has no fused where I'm at and what's going on. That's why I think it bothers me, is because I'm like, I thought this dude was like god level genius here, and now he's here like confused because they put him in a different time.
No, that was when he was he was infused with Dr. Manhattan for one, and they touched on it in the last issue of Flash when he got thrown back into the bedrock with the Flintstones, that he wasn't up to speed. You know what I mean? He's off. Like he's not rocking at real capacity right now. Finally figured out the real answer to the question: can we become more Legion? Yes, we can. You need to get the Legion of Comics logo tattooed on your body, where you legally can show it off. Dan, I eagerly await the Instagram post where you've done that. Steve saying that they're alluding to him not retiring and him for the win. And then Lee, he's asking you about, I guess, sports. Chris.
I guess he's asking you about sports.
One of my best friends at work is a big Royals fan. I will always root for the Royals. They're like the lower paid Cubs. They're just a likable team with a bunch of people. Like the Cubs are just have a little bit more money, but they're a likable team too. So I'll always be like a Royals fan for the AL. But the Cubs are doing awful. If that's
I don't speak French.
That's okay, I do. Being from Toronto, I'm a Jays fan, so
I like the Jays too.
I've been to Wrigley a couple times. I like the Cubs, and I was very happy when they pulled it off a few years back. And yeah,
the Justice League came out this week.
Speaking of the Justice League, I'm just a big fan of baseball. So I'll root for any team besides the Yankees, really, or like those kind of teams.
Good Lord, how old are you? 93?
And a half.
Yeah. Chris Bryant's off to a good start, though. Congratulations.
If you're 93, you better be counting quarters, even. 93 and 3/4.
Yeah.
But yeah, did anyone else read Justice League?
Of course.
This was fantastic. No way around it. Would you like to speak on it, Ryan? Just two separate books here, Justice League and Justice League Dark, starting with Justice League here.
Yeah. Justice League, because like I know a little bit about Naomi from like podcasts and stuff, cultural osmosis. So I know a little bit about her, but I didn't read her series. So it does feel like I'm a little bit in the deep end here, but it wasn't so far out that I felt like I was drowning, But I do feel like I would have a slightly stronger understanding of her had I read those, what was it, like 6 issues or whatever. But overall, I enjoyed it. Not a huge fan of the way that they played Superman in this book necessarily. Like he was just always like, Black Adam, yes, Black Adam, yes, Black Adam, yes. And everybody's like, but what about all these things? He's like, don't worry about it, Black Adam, yes, So it felt a little like heavy-handed of Superman, like pushing him into the league against everybody else's wishes sometimes. But for the most part, it was cool, and I understand why they need to get Black Adam into the league. So let's get through this, get him in the league, get the team like together and moving and stuff, and then I think we'll have something really fun going on.
Yeah. I do think that was obviously strategic on the writer's part, on Bendis's part, to use Superman as the one to push him in, because then Ollie was able to even point out, like, just because you say it has to go because you're Superman, blah blah blah. But at the same time, like you pointed out earlier, like they know Superman's capability. They know that, like, they might not get why he's doing it, but they're not really pushing that hard against it. They just got some slick stuff to say about it, but they're still going along with it.
Yeah.
And Black, it's not like look, if Eddie Brock gets to do what Eddie Brock does, Black Adam can come on the league. That's where I'm at with that. But I don't think he needs to be looked at as like one of the league members. He's there as a means to an end. And that's kind of where Superman was going, like, we kind of need him right now, And this isn't by any stretch of the imagination the first time people have fought side by side with Black Adam at all. Like, it happens more often than they fight against him. Like, it's been a thing for a while since they kind of established him as more of a just a dictator of his own country, that he's quick to respond if you piss him off versus an actual villain. He's not trying to conquer the world here. That's not his goal. But I love the Naomi stuff. I do not know about Naomi. I did not read her 6 issues. I did not read that podcast. I couldn't repeat the name of if I had to. So I enjoyed like being in the same boots that a lot of the heroes were that aren't familiar with her, or this pocket dimension or universe she comes from that's outside of the multiverse. So I'm enjoying going down that little road of discovery. I think that was written well. So I'm intrigued.
I'm not opposed to Black Adam. I think it's going to be great to have him around. I think Naomi's going to be fun to watch her develop as a Justice League member. It feels almost like kind of like ham-fisted. Like, we need to get them in here and get this moving now, instead of doing like a 4-issue story arc that brings them in and kind of expand some of that a little bit. Because it's like, boom, Black Adam needs to be part of the league. We got to get him in the league. He has to be here. We need him now. And at the same time, you got like Naomi in this like other realm, in this other world, and bringing her bad guy. Like, these two characters have a lot of like stuff going on to get into. Just like we're only 2 issues in and they're basically in the league. So I'm hoping now that they're in the league and we can kind of move on to like the team building aspect of Justice League. I think that's going to be a lot more fun, since they didn't like really take the time to like get them in there and really like kind of build it into a story itself.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot has to do with the Black Adam thing, where I think from a writer standpoint with Bendis, it's a lot smoother in his eyes because he's writing from a place of like an overall continuity where he's looking at where everything's come to get us to this moment. It isn't just 2 issues of Justice League and he's on the team. We're coming out of a long, big event, where it's actually really advantageous in this world where if you go up in space right now to the Watchtower / Legion of Doom, where Lex Luthor, Wally West, all the heroes and villains are kind of united in a truce right now. You know what I'm saying? There's no Black Adam's the bad guy, Lex Luthor's the bad guy. That's not what's happening in any of the main continuity of DC Comics. And for Superman to be like, well, this new Brutus guy who just handed it to us, well, he attacked Black Adam's place. Maybe we should keep him around. In the past week, I've gone to a dozen rescue calls only to find that he had already been there and did my job before I could get there. We're pooling resources, was his words. Again, he's not sitting there telling him to give him the key to the fortress here, but I think that Hippolyta responded properly for the people who are like leaning more on this isn't making sense, blah, blah, blah. Because when she showed up, she saw that Adam was cool. There. Yeah, she showed up tough too. she saw Adam was there. He's like, yeah, I'm not staying for this. I'm out. Y'all can get bent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was cool, especially if you read Endless Winter and you saw them fighting side by side on the Justice League Viking team and everything, and how that all played out. That was really cool. So, they have a lot of history with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. I'm coming at it from the perspective, like I'm coming into, this new jumping on point, I guess. Whereas, like I said, I didn't read any of Naomi. I have a pretty minimal knowledge of Black Adam, and I didn't read Death Metal and Endless Winter. So, I'm definitely coming into it from a much shallower perspective. But yeah, I think squeezing them in those 2 issues like really gave Bendis his dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, we got to talk out all these issues real quick now.
I did get a haircut. I had watched Mortal Kombat, and then my best friend, where Finn is right now, he's the store manager of an Ulta. He's like a professional hair dude. Like, my best friend cuts my hair here in my house. So I fired up Mortal Kombat, and I watched Mortal Kombat while I got my hair cut. And it's a dumb decision because the movie's horrible. But talk about.
I'm glad the haircut wasn't dumb. All right, good for you, man.
No, haircut went great.
At least you got one good thing out of it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
needs to be. I mean, watch movie coming out.
Truth.
I had such big opinions of the movie that my finger may fall off. Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark being written by Rom V is the backup story in all the Justice League titles, and they are what have me most excited for every Justice League book that comes out. The Justice League story is a means to an end. I'm not going to buy a book and only read the backup story, but the Justice League books so far by Bendis have not let me down. There's a lot still to be done, and I'm having high hopes maybe it'll continue to get good, get better. It's not bad, not at all. I don't think anyone's complaining about these 2 issues like they were about a Superman run, but the Justice League Dark story, that is something to write home about because this is fantastic. It starts out. We have Merlin coming back and just waging war on all magic. And you see him slowly like going and setting up things and getting ready just to start an onslaught basically. But you see the Justice League Dark team in the Watchtower right off the bat with the Justice League team. And long story short, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And Batman threatens the demon. And we got this really cool moment, and like you always hear about that moment, like what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. But this is one of those moments where what happens when 2 people who don't care at all about each other try to tough talk each other, and it was hilarious. Like neither one of them could phase the other one. It was just great. It was awesome banter back and forth. Merlin just doing Merlin stuff. There's a lot of setup in this one, and it's super violent. Super violent. And then they bring
I really enjoyed it. Boom.
So they bring Ragman in at the end here.
Yeah.
So this is 2 issues. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that's interesting because I feel like that was kind of the end of what we know from the Future State Justice League Dark, Like, at that point, because Ragman wasn't there, was he?
Yes, he was in Future State Justice League Dark. They went to the bookkeeper. That was Ragman, and he had the cloak hidden downstairs, and they summoned that demon to feed to the suit. And because the demon was full of all the corrupt souls, the suit came out like epic in size and contorted in shape like a monster and had that big hoorah moment. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. See, so that's all like really interesting. I love the way that they're kind of playing into what we know, and yet, like we know, like we saw the Future State stuff, but they're saying that that's all like a future possibility, which kind of gives them the out to write something different if it didn't take off, I guess. But assuming that these stories are headed where the Future State issues were at, then like this is really interesting the way that they're putting all this together, and playing it out, because we saw that Jason Blood is back in the first issue, but we know he's not there in Future State, and like we know Ragman's like all like crazy and stuff. So like where is this all going? I think it's really fun to play with the possibility of where it's all headed from here.
So we've seen the format kind of play out starting Wednesday. We had the Robin were the two backup stories that really kick-started. That was the first one to get 2. And then we have it breaking off to its own number 1 this coming Wednesday. So now this is our second Justice League Dark backup story. So maybe enough people have talked about it enough. Maybe they'll be getting its own title soon enough, hopefully, where it won't just be a backup story and we can get more content in one issue. Because this was really short. It was just a conversation in the Watchtower, Merlin going and stealing a couple of pages, and then the reveal that Merlin killed the people in the library, and Ragman emerged. That was really all there was to it.
Yeah. This one, like the Justice League Dark, didn't have a ton in this book, so but it's interesting, like I said, because it's all like set up for what we know way down the road. So they're kind of setting up the adventure to get there.
Oh yeah. We got Lee all the way from
but it's
the
all
bottom of
written.
the world.
That's what I really like about it.
Just in time. Do y'all have any more books y'all want to break down? You want to talk about?
Catwoman number 30. Rom V like pretty much carried my pull list this week. So Catwoman number 30 was awesome. It's the Batman book that we need. You got her moving through the criminal underworld. She's dealing with Cobblepot. She's dealing with Nigma. She's got her own like internal conflict with the stuff that's going on with Bruce and Batman and all that, and dealing with that separation anxiety. And, then her, like all of her responsibility to Alleytown and the people there and what's going on, and there's this guy named like Preacher Valley or something. Like apparently he came in like 4 or 5 issues ago, and I just started at 29. So I don't know what all of his setup was, but dude's bad. Like Cobblepot's like hired him as an assassin or something, and then like he doesn't do exactly what Cobblepot expects, and so Cobblepot kind of like tries to strong arm him, and he's like, no, you don't understand. The money that you gave me is kind of the equivalent of like passengers throwing their money into the ocean to pay for safe passage on a ship. And then he just like ends everybody. Like Cobblepot has him surrounded by all of his guards and stuff, and just like he throws knives, and he's like got his boot has a knife in it. He's like kicking him in the throat, and then he just like slices the last guy's throat, and then steps on Cobblepot's hand because he's like laying on the ground, and he steps on his hand, picks up his umbrella and opens it up, and he's like, "We'll continue to do business, Mr. Cobblepot, but until then, beware of the storm," and just walks off with the penguin's umbrella.
Nice.
I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is pretty cool.
Sound like an old Donald Blake moment.
Yeah, it was really cool the way they played it.
Tyler, you got anything else?
Did any of you guys read Stray Dogs?
Mm-mm.
No. This is the best issue of Stray Dogs. I don't want to spoil it, but it's getting darker. But if they haven't read it, you just need to read it.
This is a spoiler show.
Okay, so the dogs go outside and they go under the fence and they find these graves that the serial killer is killing these people, taking their dogs, if you didn't know this, and as like trophies, and the dogs find like where he's burying the dead bodies. And then so they're trying to like call the police. It's like dark and then cutesy and then dark. It's fantastic. It's only
they have a hard
better.
time calling the police without thumbs.
They knock the phone over, and then there's like a 911 button. They hit it, and then all the dogs just bark at the phone. So obviously, it was pretty funny.
So the cops probably aren't responding to that one.
No, they're not. It's a great read. It's just like a great comic. I don't know how else to put it. It would be something I would give somebody that has never read a comic before to hopefully hook them. Because it's easy to read. It's not a deep story or anything, but it's fun.
Yeah, people were talking about this book. It seems very popular right now.
Yeah, a lot of the variant covers are really cool too.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, I think, was it the last issue that was an homage to Pet Cemetery movie poster? That was really
yeah.
cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I think there was Annabelle or The Conjuring or both. I don't watch horror movies, so I don't know.
Yeah.
They scare me.
All right, next up. Ryan will be back momentarily. But I'm glad you're here, Tyler, because I've not watched Invincible yet, and it's going to be a while before I get a chance, probably next Friday. So we're going to spoil the hell out of it now.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
I didn't get a chance to, so I need you to be very vivid in your description of what happened so I can
Have you,
imagine
Chris?
Yeah.
just like I've watched.
Okay. So we get the Mahler twins. We find out what happens with Robot.
Yeah.
What happens with Robot?
So remember in the one episode where you saw like this tube and there was like this ugly looking thing in it? It ended the episode. And well, anyways, that's his name's Rudy. And Rudy is actually Robot, and he controls Robot from like afar with his mind. Yeah, he's a genius, and he controls Robot. And so the Robot brings that body to the Mahler twins, and he cloned Rex. Remember when he gets the blood from Rex blood?
Yeah.
Well, he has now cloned Rex, so he can copy his mind into Rex, and then he's Rex instead of this like body that can't function on his own.
Right.
That's better than the real Rex. Hopefully it works.
Right. The clone's probably like a 13 or 14-year-old at that point. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And he Robot did that on purpose because he has like taken a liking to Monster Girl. So he's like the same age as Monster Girl.
Right. In appearance.
Yep.
Oh man.
But there's
some obvious problems with that we're not gonna.
There's a lot of problems because Monster Girl is actually like 25, I think, right?
Yeah.
And she appears to be like 15, and then Robot, it was like this mangled thing. I don't even know how old he was, and now he's like a teenager, but I don't think he's technically a teenager. So I guess in a way, just mentally, they're both the same age ish. But
there's
they're
that
both
hyphen
15.
that Ryan was talking about.
Yeah, and then obviously Monster Girl is going down in age, but Robot, now Rex, wants to fix that. He's going to try to solve that problem.
What's going on with Omni-Man?
You can take it.
Well, his wife confronts him with the truth, and
is she alive?
Yep, his wife is still alive, and it doesn't go well for Omni-Man. He goes very dark, very quick. Bursts through the house, like leaves a crater-sized hole through the roof when she tells him to get the hell out of my house. He literally gets the hell out of that house, but straight up. And it's just on from there. The government quickly steps in to protect her. Is it Cyrus? Is that the director's name?
No.
Sirius?
I don't know why I can't think of his name. It sounds like that.
Yeah, the director, pardon me, he steps in and to protect her, and the goal then is to get Mark to where they all are in with the government to protect him and let Mark know about the truth and what's going on with Omni-Man. Then it's essentially a race of Omni-Man getting to Mark before the government can. But the government is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Omni-Man to try and slow him down. And he just becomes that one-man wrecking crew again. And he's just going through everyone. And then the curveball comes. And it's you're gonna have to help me, man. It's the dude that looks like Wolverine from the Guardians. That got got his head cut off.
Immortal.
The Immortal, right? He has that. Looks like he has a healing factor like a Wolverine does. That's the reference why I threw the reference at him. And so Mark finally catches up with his old man, and the Immortal is fighting his dad, and Mark doesn't know what to think of it because the Immortal is known as, this ageless hero, Superman type, and he's fighting his dad, and he's all confused on what's going on. And it's a hell of a battle. The one thing I love about the TV show in general is it doesn't dull down on the violence and the gore of what damage can be done to a body when you hit it hard or hit it with everything around you, like putting someone through a mountain or hitting someone with a tree. And the big spoiler is Omni-Man kills him again. He rips him in half. He ends him one more time, and like the Immortal comes back, and he's so focused on rage, he's so focused on revenge with Omni-Man that he's not willing to stop and come up with a plan or anything. It's just let me at him, and he's literally screaming his head off to get to Omni-Man. He gets to Omni-Man, and Omni-Man just uses it to his advantage in the end.
Yeah,
and
he literally
messes him up
punches through his body
with his and holds on to his
like
heart,
Terminator
right?
style, and then just slices him in half with his bare hands.
Yeah.
And that's all happening. I mean, you told it wonderfully, but there's even more. It's just there's so much happened.
Yeah.
Just in that time of him trying to meet up with Mark to tell him what's going on.
Right. So go ahead.
There's like a ray. They shoot down a ray from space. That's kind of like the world engine looking thing from Superman, from Man of Steel. How he like goes up into it. Well, that happens in this episode. Omni-Man goes up into space and punches it out just like Superman did in Man of Steel. And then the next thing they throw out is like this giant tentacle monster. So Omni-Man's fighting him. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And then Mark comes in to help Omni-Man because he sees like, oh no, my dad's in trouble. And so he's like getting killed, basically. Mark is getting killed by this thing, or it looks like he might. And Cecil, there you go. Cecil,
yeah.
Now that happened organically.
It had to happen organically. So once Cecil sees that Mark might die, Debbie's like, no, we can't let Mark die. And he's like, I'm sorry, but we can't save Mark because
collateral damage.
Yeah, it's just part of it, because if he can kill Mark, he might be able to kill Omni-Man. So we have to just let it happen. And then she's like, I hate you, Cecil. And he's like, and then he says, I hate me too.
A little bit more of the backstory with Mark for this episode. Mark is his girlfriend, or the girl that he keeps going after, that he keeps stumbling with, and she keeps ending it, almost every other episode, it seems. He decides he's going to show up in costume to her home and just come clean and just come clean and say, you know what? I'm invincible, and this is the reason why I'm always late, why I miss our dates, why it looks like I'm a jerk. So he shows up, and she kind of does this. Yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah.
That's no excuse for you being late, for you missing dates, or everything that you're doing. Like, I don't care. And it was almost like a reference. Like, I thought when I was watching it, I thought, yeah, at least Mary Jane's a little bit more accepting of Peter's responsibilities as Spider-Man than what she seems to be dealing with, the fact that he's invincible. And yeah, that was again, it was just Mark trying to, show how much he cares about this girl. And again, that backfires in his face too. So, your heart kind of breaks for the kid in that moment. But yeah, it does after the big battle with where his father and him deal with what they deal with, and then Omni-Man cuts the Immortal in half, rips him in half. Yeah, I guess he does. He gives him the John Wick kind of cut there.
Yeah,
cuts him in half. The government's watching this happen, and they all realize, okay, they're not going to be able to get to Mark to tell him the truth. Omni-Man looks at his son and says, "We need to talk." Mm-hmm. So I'm presuming that's how it ends. Yeah.
I just want to know the truth about Omni-Man.
I'm presuming Omni-Man's going to tell him his side of the Guardians story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing we left out, if we even left anything out, this is probably it, is in the very beginning with him and Debbie. He's like, "Do you trust me, Debbie?" And she's like, "Why did you kill the Guardian of the Globe?" And he's like, "Do you trust me?" He's like, she says, "No, I don't trust you." He's like, "You have to trust me. You have to Mark needs to trust me. You need to trust me. Like this all had to happen." And she's like, "I don't trust you. Like, why would I trust you? You're not telling me what's going on? And she just keeps saying, what's going on?
I'm wondering if he's going to end up being like a psycho or a good guy. That's all. Like if it's just bigger picture stuff that he just doesn't have time for, if he's General Zod, you know what I mean?
Yeah. To me, just in that conversation, he seemed like a good guy that has more on his mind. Just in that like first scene. I don't know if it came off that way to you, Chris, but that's how it came off to me.
Yeah, like I just don't understand the part where why he would want to keep it a big secret from his wife. That part, like, okay, if you went out and did this disastrous act and wiped out this team that the whole world receives as their saviors that way, why are you not telling the truth to your wife? If she's figured it out, here's your opportunity to come clean. Don't question her in
I know.
her love or her trust for you. This is the part where you just need to have diarrhea of the mouth and just say, this is it. This is what's happened. Now, do you trust me? After you tell her the truth. But I get it's Kirkman. He's got to bring the audience along the way he does. And, he's a good writer and everything. I'm not sure how close to the comic book it is. I haven't read Invincible, but yeah, it was good. And
Tyler's sitting here with all the answers.
Right. The Mark, another good point was while the government is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Omni-Man to try and slow him down, the new Guardians team is watching this happen as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That too.
And they're all like in astonishment that Omni-Man is just ripping his way through that laser that he spoke about earlier there, this kaiju, and then against the Immortal. They're all like, there's no way we can deal with him.
Yeah.
and Cecil's like, you're on hold, get ready to go, you're on hold, when I need you, you're going to deal with Omni-Man as well. And they're all like, there's no way we can deal with him.
Couldn't the purple bubble girl like take him out though? Because she has like reality altering powers, almost like the Scarlet Witch. Like you watch her just poof a door into existence on the side of her house. And
yeah, Adam Eve. You would think. I don't know if she can atomically move people. I don't know. She hasn't proven that anyway.
Yeah.
You do know.
There was some story with her. He just
used the phrase, I don't know if she can atomically move people. So you do know.
Don't spoil what hasn't been spoiled.
I definitely didn't spoil anything.
Right.
But even me saying that, I can understand why you think I would, but I definitely didn't.
Now she did have a little bit of a storyline when it seemed like the entire world was looking for Invincible. Her and Invincible were just flying around talking about life in general and everything that Mark had done wrong, and that he came clean to his girlfriend on who he was, and she thought it was a bad idea, blah blah blah. But meanwhile, Omni-Man was racing for his son, and the U.S. government was trying to find Invincible as well. But yeah,
despite hearing all this,
it
just makes me excited to watch it more.
Yeah. I guess it just last week was, I guess, a little bit of a weaker episode, even though it was still incredibly good. This week's episode definitely dwarfed what happened last week.
Yeah, it gave a lot.
Yeah.
The biggest thing between the book and the show is just the order. Like so much is happening out of order.
Okay,
but that's really it. Everything else has like been pretty true. But I guess one thing I'll say about Adam Eve, just show like if she had the ability just to rip people in half on a whim, she's been in lots of fights where she didn't do anything like that.
Yeah. She hasn't flexed that much.
Yeah. Okay, Falcon time.
Yeah. I don't know what show that is. I watched Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but okay.
That was definitely not the name of it.
My overall feeling, I thought it was rushed. I thought we had a little bit of a rushed ending. I felt bad that Batroc went out like a bitch. I see a lot of people, hating on Sam's outfit or whatever. I thought he
I didn't know that. I thought it was so cool.
I saw it quite a few places.
Spot on.
I thought he looked fantastically true to the comics when Sam was introduced as Cap. But yeah, there was a lot of hate going on for his for his outfit. And I don't know if it's people are just not respecting a black Captain America or whatever, but yeah, they were
Look,
trying to
I
find
can
things
see
to
where
rip them
like
apart with.
they went away from the more tactical approach and they just went straight comic book. So you're going to get those
Yeah.
people that are going to that favor that over just a straight comic booky. The shoulders, like if you want to critique it, the shoulders were a little puffy on it. The suit wasn't like as streamlined or as tight and everything. But for me, that none of that matters. I like seeing, man, when that shield flew through the glass and you saw that quick little glimpse of him wings out in the throw pose in the air, and you're like, he's wearing the suit. He's wearing the suit. Then he came in the window and he stood up. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was Anthony Mackie's best performance that this episode, especially with the speech that he gave at the end. I'm presuming, we all thought basically the same thing, that he was very well spoken, and his delivery was really good as an actor. But yeah, it was I was really hoping for much more of a battle with Batroc, and like it was good choreography. It was good hand to hand stuff with GSP, and I'm presuming GSP did brought the choreography along with him and Anthony Mackie. But it was, Anthony Mackie kind of went away from him, and GSP ended up Batroc got shot like a bitch.
So, like for me, the opening scene with Falcon showing up was awesome. The rest of it, the entire rest of the episode was meh.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was. They tied up all their story threads, and that was important. As far as like climactic wowzers fight scene or anything like that didn't happen. It was all just kind of straightforward. The best fight scene that happened already went down with Bucky and Sam and John Walker. That was epic, and there was no topping that fight because there was just so much weight to that fight. Like there was so much emotional weight to that fight with what was going on in the show. But when Carly told John Walker that she didn't mean to kill Battlestar, it was nothing. He's like, you thought he was nothing? And she's like, for my cause, no. And then really nothing came of that fight either. Like I don't know, but it had cool setup at the end. Overall, it was of an episode for a finale. I thought the conversation that Sam had, that speech, I thought that was stupid, to be honest with you. And it was really on the nose, really trying to push, like, why are they doing this? Well, because they're idiots, man. Because they're not getting their way. Like they're literal terrorists that just got done murdering tons of innocent people as well as guilty people along the way, but tons of innocent people to get their way. They're freaking terrorists. It does, like Sam told her best, like, I agree with what you're saying. I don't agree with how you're going about it. Like, I get what they were trying to do, like crap on the politicians. I am no fan of politicians, but it was really on the nose for me. I'm like, kind of going a little overboard. They're losing me here. Like, let's you just turn it into let's sympathize with the terrorist moment here. Wasn't really the direction to do it. Like, if you want to sympathize with someone's cause, great, but you're picking the wrong people here to do it with. You can go make those points without bringing. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a little overboard. That was just me.
I loved all of the Falcon moments and like his suit, but as like a story in a series, I really just didn't like it. I didn't think it was very good. I'll never rewatch it, and I tried to rewatch it to watch it with my wife, and she checked out after 2 episodes, and we skipped episode 1 because we had to.
Smart move.
Or she wouldn't have continued, and rewatching episodes 2 and 3 really like made me not want to watch anymore at all. I thought it was really boring, but I liked him, so I'm excited for him going forward. But I just didn't really like the series.
No, I definitely like Sam. I'll tell you who I liked most of all was Zemo. Give me a Zemo series. I'm in.
I think we can assume if any more series, like it has to line up. Nothing can change. Just like nothing changed from the beginning of WandaVision to the end. Nothing actually changed. Like she's just alive. Like there's white vision now. I guess that's the change. And this one, like he gave Cap the shield before, and this ended with him having the shield, and now he's Captain America. Like nothing big really changed, because if people don't watch this, they have to be on track for the movies.
Yep.
Well, you're right.
We talked about that earlier on. Like we talked about that on here right after WandaVision when we were about to start Winter Soldier. We said this is going to have no weight on the bigger MCU at all.
Yeah, yeah. So we have to expect that from Loki, right? It's just going to be a bunch of fun little multiverse things.
It's starting with no change because it's not even the main timeline's Loki.
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly.
This is the Loki from one scene of Endgame in a flashback. We're going to follow that flashback Loki.
Yeah,
the Loki that we're used to is still dead at the hands of Thanos, right?
Yep.
There was a couple small changes, but nothing that would be categorically large in the entire vision of the MCU. Agent 13 got cleared. John Walker is now a U.S. agent. I kind of think that they're just kind of setting up possibly a Thunderbolts run, whether that would be a movie or TV show at some point down the road, because they could bring Zemo back. Well, yeah, you're right. Zemo started in prison. Now he's in prison. He's just in a different location.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Before you watched this, where did you assume Agent 13 was? Because I did not for 1 second assume she wasn't working with the government anymore. Oh,
on the run.
I assumed that everyone had been cleared. Like why would she not be cleared? Like they just in my opinion that I'm like, why is she not clear? Everyone else is cleared. And like it was Hydra that had all these people on the run. It wasn't even like
her whole part in Civil War. She was Team Cap, remember? And then all of them
get clear at this point?
Not until no, because going into the Infinity War, you have to remember Cap was Nomad at the time, and they were all Team Cap from Civil War was still like Shadow Ops or On the Run kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was great seeing Elaine.
So Scarlet Witch was Team Cap.
Yes. Was she? Right, because Vision was on the other side.
Yeah, so she was Team Cap. So going into Infinity War, she was on the run as well with the Vision. Going into WandaVision, she's walking around free as a jaybird inside government buildings.
So I'm presuming at some point then they would have been cleared after the results of Endgame.
Exactly. So you have other Team Cap people walking around in government authority buildings willy-nilly. So it was just weird. Like it was just another one of those things like you pointed out, Sam had the shield at the start, at the end of Endgame. He has the shield at the end of this. Agent 13, you would assume was cleared anyways. She's cleared at the end of this. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just just another one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, like you said, we got U.S. agent. So it's like we just have a few extra additions.
Right, and now a dead Batroc.
Yeah.
a villain that's been a part of Captain America for the last 30 to 40, 50 years. He's just randomly dead. Yeah.
Well, Zemo was in jail at the beginning of the show. He's in jail at the end of this show. Yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of it now.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was in prison where? Outside The Hague, was it? And now he's at the raft.
Yeah, he was just in jail.
Yeah. But again, like you mentioned, you thought he was great. I think I mentioned it last week or the week before. I think Daniel Bruhl, along with Tom Hiddleston, who does Loki, is one of the best actors that Marvel's ever hired.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hit a home run by bringing Daniel Bruhl, as Zemo. That's why I really hope we get him again. That's why I hope if they do some sort of Thunderbolts or something like that he's in it somehow.
Yeah.
Or
I'm ready for the highlight of the show. Save this for the end of the show.
Okay.
Maybe I should go first. Can I go first? Because I'll have
Please.
So I didn't play the games. I didn't know any of the characters, and I've only seen the first one time of Mortal Kombat, obviously. And so I watched this one, and I thought it was super fun the whole time. I enjoyed it. And maybe it's because I didn't know anything, but it just was like such a simple storyline, and there was fighting and stuff, and I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm like anticipating the second one.
Going to be anticipating a while, probably.
I
It might not happen, I heard, but I'm definitely down for a second one. But I don't know. Everyone else seemed to hate it. I thought I was gonna hate it because I didn't care. I had fun with it. I surprised myself.
I'm much like you. I've seen the original. I saw the sequel. I played the games, and because I had to go back and rewatch Kong versus Godzilla, because a lot of people were pointing out things to me that I never picked up on, and I really didn't. I was really disappointed with that movie watching it the first time. I was such a fan of King Kong and Godzilla. I went back and gave it a second go and ignored the things that I didn't like, and I actually ended up thoroughly enjoying it. So I thought this time I'm not going to hold on to anything that I felt from before, nostalgia-wise, playing the game, seeing the Lambert movie, Annihilation as well, and I liked it. I thought the actor who they had play Kano, I thought he was a great casting. I thought he was a very good actor. But like I mentioned to Mark earlier, you can basically hire any kind of actor to play that jerk, loudmouth, anti-hero / villain type of guy. But the man that they hired to play Kano, I thought was really good. And I thought the fight sequences were good. I thought the choreography was good. The special effects didn't seem rushed. The one thing that I look back and think was there wasn't that many sets, there wasn't that many locations. So I kind of wonder if COVID really played into the production of this film.
$50 million budget.
Right. I really thought that.
Very low budget.
50.
Yeah.
That is low.
Yeah. Well, Deadpool was the same. The first Deadpool was the same thing, and
no locations.
Right.
Yeah.
There was to me, Mortal Kombat should be on a very grand scale. And like I joked with Mark, to say some good things about the movie, like I did, some bad things that kind of irritated me was they must have mentioned the word tournament 20 to 30 to 40 times, and we saw no tournament whatsoever. And they killed off a lot of main characters in it, whether you want to say they're good, they're bad, or somewhere in the middle. A lot of main characters that died. Now I do know that some movies they can bring them back, or it's Mortal Kombat. They can bring them back however they want.
Death pointless at the end of it. They completely cheapened death 100%. When Shang Tsung made that stupid comment, death is just but a doorway to another realm, and then it flashed to all the dead bodies turning into smoke and floating into the ground. It made the entire movie pointless with that one phrase and that one shot.
I wouldn't necessarily say pointless, because the heroes did come together as a team. We do have a faction now that represents Earthrealm. But to me, like I meant, to summarize it all, the movie was a foundation movie, and it was a good foundation movie. But we need Johnny Cage. You can't do Mortal Kombat without the sunglasses, man. Like, come on.
This was a foundation built on sand.
Whoa, we're getting biblical, man.
We can go there. I'm from the South. Biblical metaphor.
You're right, that Bible Belt, yeah.
So what did you hate about it? Since we
I'm going to start. Because I am going to start with some things that I did enjoy. First off, the character selection in it for the most part was great, having a lot of iconic characters as well as pulling some from the newer games. So that since we have a new movie, we're not just seeing all the same characters we've seen before on screen. They did include some people that were only like Cabal was mentioned in Annihilation, but we got him in this one. They brought in Kintara, the little flying lady, even though it was just literally just a killer. They did that with Sheila in Annihilation.
Cool.
You brought her in, and she was in a few scenes, and she died quick. They didn't get a big fight out of her, but it's cool seeing these characters on the screen. The fight between Jax and Sub-Zero was absolutely fantastic, even though everything from Sub-Zero up until that point was absolute garbage. The fact that they put so much time and consideration and energy into that opening scene, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. Do not watch it in high definition, or it looks like you're watching The Wizard of Oz, and right past the trees with the red flowers on it looks like the the painted forest set up on the wall behind it. But that is one thing that was a huge contrast. That actually made a lot of the stuff after it really, really terrible for me. Like, you put all this time, effort, and consideration into the Scorpion Sub-Zero mythology, and then you botch everyone else's mythology. You completely botch it. So I grew up loving Mortal Kombat. I have all the games up all the way through 64. I even, when I had, like, back in the day when I had Xbox and stuff, I bought, like, those were some of the few games that I played. I'm not a big gamer or anything, but I've always loved Mortal Kombat. And I'm going to go ahead and address this. This movie is just a setup for the rest of the series. This movie's invasion part of the story of the tournament is supposed to come later. So what you're saying is, in a time era where you're going to get $50 million and a shot at a franchise, you're not going to put it all into the first to guarantee that you get viewers and money to make your franchise. You're just going to crap on the people that like it and spend money to watch it with just a random chance. So that's not something that you do. That's how you make single movies that are no good, that have nothing to come after them. So Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings. He was wanting to make 3 movies, one solid story. He put his foot in that first movie. He put his foot in it for the people who were Tolkien diehards, or people like myself at the time, who this is my introduction to it. That's how you do the startup. You don't just that. I understand that concept, but this is how you don't do it. Mortal Kombat is a prime example of how not to do that. Sequels are not promised; they're not guaranteed. So the best shot that you have at getting a sequel is by making the first one the best you can. It's supposed to be the second movies that are traditionally not as good as the first, not the other way around. That's why you get a second movie, because the first is so good. But little things that I like I said, the fight with Sub-Zero and Jax was cool. Kano was absolutely amazing. Cabal was fantastic. I love both of those characters. I didn't really care for them kind of mixing the Gen 1 and Gen 2 timelines, because the Mortal Kombat mythology goes all the way up until, like, they rebooted Mortal Kombat, like, with the newer ones, and then they kind of retold some people's backstories and all this and that.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a blending in this. And so if you're familiar with it, where this is something that you didn't have to worry about, Tyler, if you're familiar with it, you're seeing this and this and this, and which isn't necessarily bad, because, I mean, the Marvel movies do that in a sense. Even, they pull from the Ultimate Universe, they pull from the original universe, they pull and they make their own cinematic universe. But it was just kind of it didn't feel smooth in this. It was absolutely, you could see the cheap budget, in my opinion. They spent the majority of that money on some things, not others. It was very inconsistent CGI. Goro looked worse in this movie than he does in the video games. Shang Tsung was just a little Weasley businessman from The Dark Knight. Someone along the way said, I have a good idea. Put a bad wig on him and he can be Shang Tsung. He was totally not convincing with the casting. The acting was poor. The dialogue was even worse. Outworld is one of the coolest aspects of Mortal Kombat to me. Thank you, Hoarder's Hide. The opening scene, that's the first thing that I pointed out to my wife. I'm like, oh my God, they didn't just do that. They spent money. Instead of using special effects, they spent money to make computer blood coming out of people's close-ups on their bodies. If you have to make Goro have computer blood, that makes sense, because he's not really there. But you have people in full body suits, completely covered from head to toe. It is so easy to put packets in them and make real blood effects. It is so much more convincing. But it just flopped so hard for me. Outworld is so awesome. The entire hierarchy of Outworld, with Shao to Shang to Quan Chi to the Elder Gods and everything. They didn't give us nothing of Outworld. Not just the story or the hierarchy or the backstory of these people, but no Outworld itself. Anytime we're in Outworld, we're just outside. It looks like we're in a desert. Like, it was horrible. It just, like, everything that was enjoyable, as soon as it would change scenes, it would be something disappointing. I'm like, come on, man. And to use Scorpion as a big reveal character, he's been a mainstay, basic character in Mortal Kombat since the first game. And he's going to be your big reveal. Explain how he even popped up. Why did he choose to pop up now instead of any other time in the past 10,000 years? Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Didn't he just escape hell or something?
Well,
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tyler, because when he popped up, he made sure to put it on the nose and say, "Oh, when I died, I went down to hell, and instead of being tormented there, I became a master of it." Well, dude, you've been stuck there for 1,000 years. What kind of master are you? 1,000 years?
But why would he go to hell if he was such a fun-loving family man there?
Because he wasn't. There were warring ninja factions. It's not
Right.
it's like they've kind of shown
I
it in a
know.
light like he's such a nice guy, but he's not. They're
No.
two different bad guy clans. And yeah, dude, it just didn't have any real direction to it. Having the new character in it, what was his name? Cole.
Yes.
Oh, is he new?
Yeah, that dude never existed until this movie. So
I didn't know that.
if you take him out of the movie, it changes nothing, except you have more room in the movie to actually develop the characters that people know and love. You can develop them evenly. Go back and watch the original Mortal Kombat movie. Even though Liu Kang had like the opening scene and he's the one that kicked Shang off the little balcony and onto the spikes in the end, it was a balanced movie. You know what I'm saying? Like all these characters had all these different fight scenes. Like Johnny fought Goro, and you had the classic fight with Sonya and Kano. Like she had a little bit less fighting, but it was a well balanced movie between all these characters. They didn't really make it just a single characters movie to begin with, but it was. I can definitely see where people liked it. For me, it just all the bad movie tropes just shine so hard. Like, how are you going to take Goro? Like Goro, Prince Goro, he's literally like the ruler of his realm. He's like stole his birthright from his older brother and killed him and everything and took over. And you're going to use him as a random throwaway lackey? No, man, no. You've seen the original movie, right? He's sitting there as the champion, just hanging out, chilling, just letting everything play around him, just stout, like talking about how awesome he is. And then Shang Tsung finally walks in, and Goro just looks at him. Did you see the little animatronic Goro just sit up? Is it time? And he's like, yes. And just cue the music, bodies flying everywhere, like amp him up. You know what I'm saying? You have Cole, who his special power is he becomes the
Colossus.
rapping. No, he becomes the wrapping paper on his fighting gloves in the opening scene. That's all he does.
Yeah.
Like, did you notice that? Like how they focus on wrapping his hands, and then that's what he became. He becomes hand wrap. How fantastic! Your powers are your hand wrap. Everyone else has an actual move they do. You know, I shoot fire. I throw my hat. Energy beam. Frog. I become something like that. It's not even consistent. This is stupid.
So you're saying you didn't like it?
I think I put such little thought during the movie into it that I enjoyed it, and I don't know. I still enjoy it. I'd probably like when it was over, I'd say, "Oh yeah, I'd watch this again." Like I'm excited for the second one, but I think it's because I knew nothing.
Now, don't get me wrong. If they want to do a second one, I'm completely on board with it. I'll be excited. I'll be happy to watch it and everything. And when I went in this, I talked about it before I watched it. Friday morning, I said, my only expectations is to have fun. I've said it. This movie will not be good, and I'm okay with that. I am a fan of bad movies. Huge Roger Corman fan. Bad does not mean not fun. But I wasn't even able to have like fun. It left me aggravated, you know? Like there were definitely moments in it that were enjoyable. One cool moment was when Cole was outside the ice cream shop with his baby mama and his kid, and Sub-Zero walks up and freezes the ground, lifts the ice up, drops it, and literally kills every single body on the screen except the one person he was aiming at. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And what caught me,
want to know what was really awesome? When he would ride the lightning. That dude, like when the light would come down, he just grab the lightning and take off. I'm like,
so Raiden, I give me Christopher Lambert because, dude,
Yeah.
the CG for his eyes was horrible.
yeah.
Like, and they didn't give Raiden any cool fighting scenes. And to be honest with you, this whole movie took place in the original film in the first 30 minutes.
Yes.
You get introduced to the character, they get together, and then Shang Tsung tries to interfere and take them out before the tournament. And what happens? Because that's a violation of the tournament rules, the protector of Earthrealm stepped in and stopped it with a heavy hand because Raiden's a boss. He ain't no joke. So that happened in the original film when Scorpion and Sub-Zero first get introduced. There it is, Tyler.
So I need to. This is my wife's She was the one informing me during the movie who the people were.
Look
But I
on
was
the
just
back of
calling.
that at the special features.
Yeah.
It says Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins. That's an old animated cartoon that I used to rent from Blockbuster when I was a little kid. It's really cool. It's about 28 minutes long. Better than the whole new movie.
Maybe I'll watch this movie tonight because I've only seen it once and I don't remember any of it.
Dude, it is so good. It is legitimately so good. It holds up in everything. There's funny moments with Johnny Cage. The special effects in it are actually good, and especially for the time era, they're great. Goro's animatronics are awesome. There's a couple times when it does look slow, but they do a lot of quick camera to kind of cover a lot of that up. But like it's a good movie. It's legitimately a fun movie.
So do the people get powers? I feel like it's such a dumb
No.
question. Do they get powers? Like
No,
that's not a thing.
That's already there.
Stupid. No, that
Yeah,
was all
that's-
stupid stuff in the new one. I'll tell you
That's
what
all
happens
there.
is Liu Kang, like he finds his essence. We are in Mortal Kombat. We are in an era where people do have abilities here. You know what I mean? You do see Johnny Cage pull off his signature shadow kick. But
No,
whether
I
that's
don't know.
something like in the movie, like all right, Johnny Cage, one of his moves is the shadow kick, back forward high kick, and his foot goes out and he slides, leaving like an image behind him, like the Flash almost. And he does that in the first Mortal Kombat movie. He jumps at Scorpion and shadow kicks at him. So you see like all this stuff that people are like, oh, they Easter egg this, they Easter egg that. They did real moves here, they did real moves there. Go watch the original. That's all it is. Like they nail it. Go watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation. They nail it. There's 10 times more characters in Annihilation. It's just one giant fight movie with a choppy plot thread just to get you from fight to fight. So I don't know like how Annihilation is way more entertaining than this movie was. The first one is hands down the best one they've done. There's a Mortal Kombat show, a web show called Mortal Kombat Legacy that Michael Jai White played Jax. It was like 12 short minisodes. It was fantastic. It did what this show kind of attempted to do in some places, but it real worlds it. It takes it takes it a lot more serious. You know what I mean? It takes it more out of the corniness of it, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree that miniseries was pretty good. And for those that don't know who Michael Jai White is, he was the guy who played Spawn in the
Spawn
original
himself.
Spawn movie. Yeah. So yeah, he's a good action type of actor. Yeah, it's again made. I'm sure the producers are listening to all the complaints about this movie. There are a lot out there.
Kano was
it might,
cool.
it might be the sequel if they do get to make it. Hopefully, there's more of a budget. Hopefully, they can film it in more than just 4 different places, and that it's more true to the original writings of the video game, and that we get to see the tournament and not just trying to pick off people before the tournament even happens. Which is still an interesting plot point, but in the end, it was all the villains. Yeah, at least in the end, it was all the villains that end up biting the big one.
I'm in the minority, undoubtedly, but
I enjoyed it.
I don't know. I don't even know why I liked it because honestly, I don't. It was just there, and I watched it, and I thought it was fun. I don't really know why. I can't name any character. If you named all these characters, I'm like, I wonder who that was that Mark just said.
Well,
spinny hat guy was cool.
The little fatality moments were cool, but like that's not gonna. It's not gonna. You can't like. I can go on YouTube, which I've done. Like every time a new Mortal Kombat game drops, I go on and watch all the cutscenes and watch the fatalities because I'm not about to buy a console and play a new game. I barely have time to fire up my Nintendo 64, and anytime I do, Finn's in there wanting to play as well. You know what I mean? Which I got kids in a job right now, and they're little, so I don't have time to get into new games. But like seeing those, I did recognize that kind of stuff, like with the hat hitting and sliding her over. This fatality is done for a long time, and that was cool. But that's not enough for a movie. It's just if you want to make your video game fans happy, if you want to treat them right, you have to make a movie of just enough caliber where it can make enough money to validate being made and give them more. It's just otherwise, what's the point?
I guess he did. Maybe I'm not the only one. Did you like it, Joel? Since you didn't know much, or am I just crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. It's okay though. I mean, hey, whatever. I had fun.
No, I mean I can. You had fun. Panda had fun. I've talked to a bunch of people that enjoyed
I
it.
think Dustin liked it, right? I mean, maybe not. I didn't get to watch all of his like conversation yet. So
Well, he told me in a chat that well in the chat he said that he thought it was the best movie ever and there was nothing wrong with it. You can't see how anyone could have not gotten it. And then he went live on Jim Mitt and Jim had plenty of critiques about it, like a bunch of critiques about it, and he agreed with all the critiques Jim had. So I don't know. I've heard both. Yeah, I'm not the newest console I have is a Nintendo 64. But I just growing up, the games were in my. I'm 33, so growing up, like the games were still in arcade mode. Like you go throw a quarter in and play them and stuff, and they were so taboo in my house because they were violent. But we managed to get a hold of some. Like I've got Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 on my Sega Game Gear still, and I've got
Yeah.
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on the Super that I have, and I've got Trilogy and 4 and Sub-Zero Mythologies on my Nintendo 64, and I don't know. Grew up. I remember seeing the movie in theaters numerous times. I saw Annihilation in theaters numerous times. It was awesome. I grew up doing taking karate for years, and when Mortal Kombat dropped, they did. I don't know if y'all remember this, but it was such a big deal, such a big thing that they did a live like performance that would travel, like it was stuntmen doing a live Mortal Kombat show.
Oh.
And the karate school that I went to when the show was here in Augusta, the actor who played Scorpion came to the karate school and he did a demo and everything. And so they would come out just gathering people and excitement for the show. And he had it was, doing all the stunts with the spear and everything. It was really cool. Yeah. What is going on, Travis? Have you watched Mortal Kombat? And what were your thoughts? Again, long story short, I would give it like this is going to sound crazy, right? I would give it a 5 or a 6
Out of 10 or 100?
out of 10.
out of 100.
But there's just because like, and to be honest with you, as fun and as cool as Kano was, like he really was. I think like they could have done him better in a sense. Like there's a lot of unnecessary use of foul language, like to the point that it wasn't even fitting in the film. Like it's just you're just trying to be edgy at this point because I watched the original again, and Kano was just as ruthless. He was brutal, and he was cleaner
Isn't
about it.
he Australian? Was he
In both,
Australian?
he was.
Well, I
In
know an
every movie.
Australian who definitely overuses foul language, so maybe that's fitting.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
it could be.
Yeah, I can remember when Mortal Kombat first showed up on the scene as a video game. Street Fighter had already been in existence, and to me that was the best fighting game since Double Dragon. And I can remember my friend came over and he's like, "You need to come to the arcade. There's a game called Mortal Kombat." And I'm like, "Well, what is it?" And he's like, "It's like Street Fighter on steroids." And then he said, "But he makes Street Fighter look like the Smurfs."
Mhm.
I was just like, what? And he's like, there's this guy that shoots like this arrow out of his hand and it goes through you. And he says, "Get over here." And he pulls you into him and he gives you like this wicked uppercut. And you can actually die and you can have your spine ripped out of you. And they call it a fatality. And if you beat your opponent without taking a punch, it's called a flawless victory. And the music is really wild. And now that I mention that, they never really had that much like that high-speed techno or whatever during any fight scenes, did they? Like, true to the game. I remember all the video games that I had for Mortal Kombat, right up to I think I had one for the PS3, Mortal Kombat. That would have been what, Mortal Kombat 10 or something. Even then, it had high-speed music in it. But yeah, if they're granted a sequel, hopefully the producers are listening to everyone.
Do you know
like
how much
us.
they made this weekend? Is
No
that
idea.
even available to find? I'm just curious to see if it's like even realistic.
Let's see. I don't know if the numbers are going to be out yet.
Oh,
It
here.
being like the double platform thing. 22.5 million opening weekend.
I see
the theaters?
50.1 gross revenue. I think that's
Okay.
worldwide.
12 hours ago, Mortal Kombat tops Demon Slayer, the anime movie that just released. My daughter went to that today with a 22.5 million opening weekend.
Yeah, that's domestic, I think. So 50 million worldwide that's pretty really bad.
Yeah, because if you make a movie, you have to at the bare minimum double what you put into it, right, to even break even.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's
You
just the
gotta-
opening, but yeah, that's
50
not a good
million is
start.
what they spent on making the movie. That's
Yeah.
not what they spent on advertising for the movie or merchandising for the movie or
Yeah.
anything. So this movie just lost its hat.
It might be in trouble.
Fatality.
Flawless victory.
Now, this was a flawed loss.
Flawed victory. I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess we'll see. That's not a good start though. That's for sure.
Well,
The fight with Scorpion and Sub-Zero was really cool, though it didn't make much sense to me. Just the fight choreography wasn't terrible. Wasn't the best in the world. I don't know. And it's Mortal Kombat. Just get some really, really good stunt actors to do what they do. Get Scott Adkins if you got to. Pay Scott Adkins to wear a suit where you can't see it. Scott Adkins. Go get Ray Parks
yep.
where you can't. And then put him in a suit, and you don't need any wires. Just tell these guys to go work out something, and then you'll film it when they're ready, and it'll just be the best fight choreography you've seen. Go get Michael J. White. Like, get these guys that can actually do it. That's all it takes for a movie like this. Just real good fight choreography. Do a little wire work if you want. Leave the computers at home. You don't need it. You need it just for the gore and stuff, for the characters that can't be there because, they're a little too out of this world. I don't know.
I hope I like this one.
I bet you'll love it.
I hope so.
It's really fun.
But I liked this one.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Prediction: you're going to watch that and be like, yeah, this was a fun movie, and then you're going to be like, that one I just watched the other day. That was weird.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know the characters. That's like the one thing, and I feel like most of, at least a solid portion, have to do with characters.
Here's one thing you could say about the original one. After you watch it, you will know the characters. Can't say that about the new one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I like the spinny hat guy.
And I don't remember, Dan, how they do it, but they project. Like, I don't know if the numbers we looked at have that projection in it, but they're able to look at the viewership stuff on HBO Max and project revenue with it. And they know that in this weird COVID year where they've decided to do the double dump of movies in theaters and on the streaming service, that there is going to be an actual box office loss to account for, but they're able to look at the viewership on HBO Max and look at how they would have expected it to do, having that not been the case just with a straight theater release, you know what I mean? So that they can plan things moving forward. They're not just 100% basing it on just box office numbers.
What service did you guys watch it on?
HBO Max, definitely. I support the stuff that I watch.
Because HBO Max doesn't exist in Canada, I got it off Prime.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was available on a few different services here in Canada, but they were all the exact same price. It was just whatever one you want to throw your money at. So I think it was
You paid $30.
$24.99. $24.99
bad.
Canadian. Yeah. So it's probably $20 US.
I'm trying to find like viewed or viewers, but I don't see any information.
It'll
on
pop
that.
up because I know the Snyder Cut numbers came up really fast after.
A
couple of days after, and it was ridiculously impressive.
Yeah. Restore the Snyderverse.
God, if only. We're gonna get a sequel to this Mortal Kombat movie, but not a restore the Snyderverse.
Give me that Man of Steel 2, please. Like, come on.
That's what's gonna happen.
Before Mortal Kombat 2, we need Man of Steel 2. Yeah. and release Black Widow. Come on.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. I saw all the toys today. I was at the mall. I saw all the Funko Pops on clearance, and the movie's still not out because the Funko Pops came out a year ago.
Yeah.
You chose wisely with the Space Jam.
Oh, my toy?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Did you see which one I got?
I did. That's why I said you chose wisely.
There were so many cool
You
ones.
should have grabbed the Marvin the Martian to go with it, though.
I thought about the Bugs Bunny, but I'm a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner guy, so
Look at
I'm
that
hoping they
chin
come
strap
out.
he's rocking.
I'm
Look at the
hoping they
chin
come out
strap
with
they put
a
on him.
second wave. I love the rocket. That's classic.
Look at the
Here-
chin strap. That beard he's rocking. God.
Here's the ones you can get. There's the 2-packs with a bunch of the other characters in the movie.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
really care about that, but maybe after the movie comes out, I'll be more excited for it.
You know, Marvin the Martian was only a referee in the first movie. I was wondering how they're going to use him in this one.
He has to be the ref again.
I'm excited for it. The trailer looked fun. It looked really fun.
Yeah, it did. It impressed me. I wasn't expecting to like the trailer at all, and then I really did. So
I watched the Easter egg trailer that Bugs did. I thought that was pretty good. Where
I
they
hadn't seen
started.
that.
Oh,
no, I haven't either.
there's a trailer that's hosted by Bugs Bunny, and he says to talk or to celebrate this particular weekend, see all the Easter eggs or that I left, and
I'm gonna
like
watch that.
it starts counting like well beyond 75 into 80 different Easter eggs that just like they show little arrows to different things as things are flashing by through the trailer. Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah.
See, I love Space Jam. I was a kid when that came out. That was such a blast. So now I'm glad that one's coming out while Finn's at an age where he really enjoys watching movies. So this is great to have a little dude to justify me watching Space Jam.
Yeah,
I wonder how
I
y'all-
don't have a little dude, but I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I think it's a cool twist how it's going to be almost like a video game. I was afraid it was just going to be this new age Space Jam, but it seems like it's going to tie well into the plot. So I'm happy about that.
I think it'll be a blast. But it's a lot later than I normally would hang out on here. I got to work in the morning. Had a very productive day. Hoping to have one tomorrow, but that requires me getting up really early. So I definitely appreciate you guys hopping on with me. Do y'all want to plug anything you got going on before we head out?
Nope.
Today, Mark and I did a collab video. It's fresh, brand new on my channel. If people want to check it out, we each give our hot pick for the week. Tomorrow, I got a mystery box Monday where I'm going to be opening this.
Mm.
So-
First thing that came to mind was Supreme, that clothing line. Where people
It did
Yeah.
look like that.
Yeah, yeah. So
I see
that'll
Chris
be
just wearing a Supreme onesie.
yeah, totally me
$1,000
too, right?
onesie.
That's totally me. I'm gonna drop $500 on a t-shirt. Wednesday it'll be fresh from my car, new comic book day, and yeah, that's about it.
I got this
I got that too.
from someone I know. He's on the bottom of me.
Oh,
And I got this too. But that's it. That's all. Oh, he's above me now. So yeah, that's all I want to plug. We've got some big things happening on Whack Comics, like always.
Nice. I've got a massive unboxing tomorrow. Tons of books, technically 10 exclusive store variants that I got in.
Ooh.
That it's already uploaded and ready just to be available at 7 a.m. Hashtag wake up to content. No, I'm talking about. But I got that. And then Tuesday, I'm going to try to go live sometime around lunchtime just to hang out, kick it, talk about what's coming up that week. And Wednesday, I'm going to post my 700 subscriber giveaway video. Hopefully, I'll be able to have everything in hand before I need to post that. If not, I'll just pull some stock images to use to show everybody what the giveaways are, but that video is going up. And then I've got all kinds of stuff that I got this Kirby care package. I got a piece of original art that came in, semi-original art is the best way to put it. It's what is it called? It's a swipe, but it's not on a comic. It's an actual piece of art that someone homaged a Del Lotto piece of work. It looks really cool though. They'd use a different kind of painting technique and everything. It's really nice. And I still have this AOK from Pocan Joe, this magic box that I need to show off, and just all kinds of stuff. But anyways, yeah. Fun stuff are coming, so be sure to hit that notification bell if you haven't already. I appreciate everybody hanging out in the chats. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.